The night sky above Earth was a canvas of darkness, pierced only by the flickering lights of distant stars. Beneath this celestial tapestry, humanity lay unaware of the impending threat. On the outskirts of a sleepy town, nestled within the foothills of the Rockies, a gathering of scientists had converged at the top-secret facility known as the Earth Defense Grid Command Center. Dr. Lena Ortiz, a leading astrophysicist, stared intently at the monitor in front of her, the glow illuminating her furrowed brow. Data streamed across the screen, a chaotic swirl of numbers and charts that only she and her colleagues could decipher. The atmosphere in the room was thick with tension, a palpable sense of urgency as they pieced together the latest findings from deep space. "Look here," Lena said, pointing to a red blip that appeared on the radar. "This is the third time in as many weeks we've detected a ship of this magnitude approaching our planet. If this trajectory holds, they'll arrive in less than 12 hours. Dr. Marcus Hale, her mentor and the lead engineer of the defense system, leaned closer to the screen. "Are we sure it's hostile? It could be a probe, or even a reconnaissance mission." "Based on the readings, it's not just a probe," Lena replied, her voice steady but urgent. "These are warships. Their energy signatures are unmistakable." The room fell silent, the weight of her words hanging heavily in the air. The defense grid was humanity's last line of defense, a series of satellites armed with powerful weaponry designed to deter extraterrestrial threats. It had been activated for drills and minor threats, but never for a full-scale invasion. "Activate the grid," Marcus commanded, his tone leaving no room for debate. "We need to be ready for anything." Around the room, technicians scrambled to follow orders. Screens flickered to life, displaying schematics and the positioning of satellites in orbit. Lena took a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline coursing through her veins as she monitored the countdown. Meanwhile, light years away, the alien fleet surged through the void of space. On board the lead ship, Commander Thalrin stood on the bridge, his angular face contorted in disbelief as he observed the blip on his own display. "Activate cloaking," he barked. "We cannot afford to be detected." But it was too late. The Earth defense grid was already aware of their presence. Unbeknownst to Thalrin, the defenses were not merely a reactive measure. They had been anticipating his fleet's arrival for weeks. "Sir, they've activated their weapon systems," shouted a young officer at the control panel. "What are they doing? We must retreat." Thalrin's heart raced. He had been told stories of Earth's defenses, but witnessing it firsthand was a different matter entirely. He had come seeking resources, perhaps even slaves, but now it seemed he had stepped into a trap. "Set course for the outer rim of the solar system," he ordered, but panic had already begun to ripple through the crew. The once disciplined ranks were now frenzied, fear gripping them as they watched the bright flashes of light erupt from the satellites in orbit around Earth. Back on Earth, Lena and her team watched as the first shots from the defense grid lit up the night sky. The fireworks of war erupted in vibrant hues, striking the alien ships with deadly precision. Each pulse of energy sent ripples of shock throughout the alien fleet. "It's working," someone shouted, a mix of disbelief and joy washing over the team. But Lena remained focused. "We need to monitor their retreat. We can't let them regroup. Adjust the targeting algorithms to anticipate their movements." As the defense grid continued to unleash its firepower, Thalrin grappled with the reality of his situation. "They're overwhelming us. Divert power to shields and prepare for evasive maneuvers," he commanded, desperation clawing at him. The crew scrambled to comply, but chaos had already set in. The sight of their ships being blown apart, one by one, was more than just a loss of hardware. It was a blow to their morale. The myth of invincibility had crumbled in an instant. "Commander, the systems are failing," a technician cried out, his voice barely rising above the alarms blaring around them. "Prepare the escape pods. We're abandoning ship." Thalrin realized that this battle was lost. Survival was paramount, and he wouldn't let his crew perish in a futile stand against the humans. As the escape pods launched into the void, Lena observed the patterns of retreat on her screens. "They're breaking formation. "They're fleeing," she exclaimed, a mixture of relief and disbelief flooding her. The fleet, which had once seemed like a dark harbinger of doom, was now a disorganized mass of panic. "Reinforce our defenses," Marcus instructed, still wary. "We don't know if this is a feint. They might regroup." But Lena had other ideas. "What if we could intercept them? We have the technology to track their escape route. If we can capture even one ship, we could learn so much about them." Marcus hesitated, the weight of the decision evident on his face. "It's risky. We could lose everything if they decide to fight back." "Or we could gain the upper hand," Lena argued. "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." The room buzzed with a mix of anxiety and excitement. It was a critical moment, and as the defense grid continued to fire upon the fleeing ships, Lena could see the possibility of a victory that could shift the tide of power in the universe. "Fine," Marcus relented, his voice firm. "Adjust the targeting systems to intercept the lead ship. We'll set a course for their trajectory." With deft fingers, Lena input the coordinates, her mind racing with the implications of what lay ahead. The prospect of capturing an alien vessel sent a thrill through her. They would learn about their technology, their culture, perhaps even their motivations for attacking Earth in the first place. As the defense grid recalibrated its focus, Thalrin's eyes narrowed with determination. "Prepare for a hard burn. We need to escape these humans and find a safe harbor." He knew the risks of staying too close to Earth, where the defenses were deadly and relentless. Yet, even as they fled, the remnants of his fleet were not without resolve. "Sir, there's a ship following us," an officer reported. "They're gaining." "Divert all power to engines. We cannot let them catch us," Thalrin barked, desperation clawing at him again. The fear of capture loomed larger than the fear of destruction. Back in the Defense Grid Command Center, Lena watched as the radar displayed a bright blip gaining on the fleeing ship. "We're closing in," she announced, her pulse quickening with every second. "Target locked," one of the technicians confirmed, the tension in the room reaching a fever pitch. "Fire," Marcus commanded, and Lena pressed the button, sending a pulse of energy hurtling toward the fleeing vessel. Time seemed to slow as they watched the shot arc through space. For a moment, it felt like fate itself hung in the balance. Would they succeed? Would they capture this enigmatic enemy? The energy blast struck the alien ship with a resounding explosion, illuminating the darkness of space. Lena held her breath as the debris scattered across the void. The screen flickered, and a moment later, an image appeared smoke-billowed from the remains of the alien vessel, but it was still intact, floating perilously close to the edge of Earth's orbit. "Commander, we're losing the ship," an officer yelled, panic lacing his voice. "Prepare a boarding party," Thalrin shouted, his instincts kicking in. He would not abandon his ship or his crew. "We may still be able to salvage this." On Earth, Lena's heart raced as she realized the situation was not yet resolved. "They're trying to stabilize," she called out, her eyes wide with determination. "We need to act fast." "Prepare a strike team," Marcus ordered. "We'll send them in to secure the ship before they can escape." The team mobilized quickly, ready to move into action. Lena felt a surge of adrenaline as they suited up and prepped for the mission. This was it, the moment humanity could reclaim the narrative and establish dominance in the cosmos. As the strike team boarded their small craft and rocketed toward the derelict alien vessel, Lena felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. They were about to confront the unknown, to delve into the heart of the alien threat that had sent shockwaves across Earth. "Here we go," she muttered under her breath as they approached the ship, the remnants of the battle glowing ominously in the darkness around them. The weight of the moment pressed heavily on her shoulders, and she knew that whatever happened next would change everything. As they breached the hull of the alien ship, Lena took a deep breath. They were entering a world that few humans had seen, a realm where fear and wonder coexisted, where the fate of Earth hung in the balance, and where the echoes of alien panic would resonate through the annals of history. Would they find answers, or would they open a door to further chaos? The adventure had only just begun. The airlock hissed open, releasing a wave of cold, stale air that had been trapped within the alien vessel. Lena stepped through first, her heart pounding in rhythm with the mechanical beeps of her suit's life support system. The dark, metallic interior was lit by flickering emergency lights, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. "Stay alert," she whispered to the strike team, who followed closely behind her. Each member was outfitted in reinforced exosuits designed for both protection and mobility. They were humanity's vanguard, a group of scientists and soldiers ready to confront the unknown. As they moved deeper into the ship, Lena scanned her surroundings. The architecture was unlike anything she had ever seen: curved surfaces, organic shapes, and intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. "Check your corners," whispered Sergeant Mills, the team leader, his voice low and steady. "We don't know what's lurking here." Lena nodded, her eyes darting between the strange controls and the dark hallways that branched out in multiple directions. They needed to find the ship's control room, the heart of its operations, and perhaps the key to understanding why the aliens had targeted Earth in the first place. As they moved cautiously through the corridor, Lena's mind raced with possibilities. What were these beings capable of? Why had they chosen to attack? The stakes had never been higher, and with each step, the weight of responsibility pressed on her shoulders. "Look!" one of the technicians shouted, pointing at a panel on the wall. It was covered in symbols that glowed faintly, pulsing in sync with the ship's low hum. "Can anyone decipher this?" "I can try," Lena replied, stepping closer. The symbols reminded her of ancient scripts she had studied, though this was something entirely foreign. "If we can access their systems, we might gain control over the ship." As she examined the panel, she felt a surge of determination. With her knowledge of linguistics and her background in astrophysics, she began to piece together the meaning behind the symbols. It was a slow process, but she soon noticed patterns. Suddenly, a sound echoed down the corridor, a metallic clang followed by a series of frantic beeps. Lena's heart raced. What was that? "Could be a malfunction," Mills suggested, his eyes narrowing. "Or something else. Let's move." They pressed on, but the unease in the air was palpable. Lena continued to study the panel as they moved. "I'm almost there. Just need a bit more time." The next corridor opened into a vast chamber, the ship's central hub. It was an impressive sight. Sleek consoles formed a circle around a massive control sphere that glowed ominously in the center. The walls were adorned with displays showing data and images from various sectors of space. "Now this is something," Mills breathed, stepping forward to survey the room. "Let's secure the area," Lena urged. "I don't want to be caught off guard." As they spread out, Lena approached the control sphere, drawn by its pulsing light. She reached out, hesitating only for a moment before placing her gloved hand on its surface. The moment she made contact, a wave of energy surged through her, igniting her senses. Visions flashed before her eyes, images of the alien fleet, their homeworld, and scenes of chaos as the humans retaliated. "Lena!" Mills called out, snapping her back to reality. "Are you okay?" I saw something," she stammered, shaking off the disorientation. "They're scared. They didn't expect us to fight back." "What do you mean?" Mills pressed, concern etched on his face. "Their data shows they thought Earth would be easy to conquer. They're fleeing because they're terrified of our defenses. They've lost ships and are in disarray," Lena explained, her voice steadying. "Then we need to use that to our advantage," Mills replied, a determined gleam in his eyes. "If we can broadcast a message or disable their systems, we might force a surrender." "Let me access their mainframe," Lena said, stepping back toward the control panel. "I'll try to find a way to communicate with them." As she worked, Lena felt a mix of exhilaration and anxiety. The stakes were immense, and the fate of their world rested on her ability to decipher the alien technology. Her fingers danced over the controls, her mind racing to keep pace with the data flooding in. The display flickered, revealing schematics of the ship's systems. "Got it," I can reroute power from their weapons to communications, she announced. If I can just bypass this. Suddenly, the alarms blared throughout the chamber, drowning out her words. Red lights flashed ominously as a voice echoed through the intercom, deep and resonant. Unauthorized access detected. Prepare for immediate lockdown. What the hell? Mills exclaimed. They know we're here. Quick, I need to finish this, Lena shouted, adrenaline spiking as she concentrated on the console. Her heart raced, and her fingers moved faster, guided by a mix of instinct and desperation. She was so close to accessing the ship's mainframe when a loud crash echoed from the entrance. Get ready, Mills shouted, drawing his weapon. The team instinctively positioned themselves into defensive stances, eyes trained on the doorway. Lena's pulse quickened as the doors burst open, revealing a small group of alien soldiers. They were tall, their bodies elongated and sleek, with skin that shimmered like liquid metal. Their eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, filled with fear and fury. Fall back, Mills commanded, but Lena's curiosity held her in place. Wait, she cried, her voice slicing through the chaos. They might not want to fight. The aliens hesitated, their sharp features reflecting a mix of confusion and hostility. Lena raised her hands, showing she meant no harm. We don't want to hurt you, we just want to talk. One of the aliens stepped forward, its voice a series of clicks and hisses, translated in an instant by the ship's system. Humans, you breach our ship. You threaten us. We're not here to threaten, Lena replied, her heart racing. We're defending our home, but we can help each other if we can communicate. Mills glanced at her, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Lena, this could be dangerous. But she pressed on, her gaze locked with the aliens. Please, we're not your enemies. We just want to understand. After a tense moment, the alien raised a hand, signaling its comrades to lower their weapons. We will listen, but you must show trust. What do you offer? Lena took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. We can share knowledge. You came to Earth seeking resources. Let us explain who we are, why we fight, and why you must reconsider your approach. The alien's glowing eyes narrowed, analyzing her. You seek peace? Yes, Lena affirmed. We're not just a planet to conquer. We have technology, ideas, and cultures that could benefit both our races. Mills lowered his weapon slightly, his expression shifting from suspicion to cautious hope. If we can negotiate, we might find a way to stop the fighting. The alien nodded slowly, a shimmer of understanding passing between them. Then we will hear you. Lena felt a surge of relief. Let's move to a more secure area. We can discuss terms without the risk of an ambush. As the group navigated back through the corridors, Lena felt a sense of purpose solidifying within her. They were on the brink of something monumental. In the heart of the alien ship, amid the remnants of conflict, they could forge a new path for both species. They reached a smaller chamber, lined with intricate murals depicting alien history and achievements. It was a stark contrast to the stark, utilitarian walls of the military facility Lena was accustomed to. Here, she said, gesturing for everyone to take a seat. Let's talk. The alien soldiers, still on high alert but visibly calmer, took positions around the room. Mills stood beside Lena, his expression a mix of pride and concern. We want to understand your intentions, the lead alien said, its voice resonating through the chamber. Why do you resist? Lena took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. We resist because we value our home, our freedom. We've built a civilization over millennia, and we fight to protect it. We are not merely a resource for exploitation. The alien listened intently. We have known only conquest. Our kind is driven to expand, to take what we need. It is the way of our people. But it doesn't have to be, Lena replied, her voice growing stronger. You can learn from us, as we can learn from you. Instead of viewing Earth as a target, see it as a potential ally. Together, we could explore the stars, share knowledge, and thrive. The alien's eyes flickered with intrigue. And what would you offer in return? Lena leaned forward, sensing a glimmer of hope. We can share technology, culture, and resources. Imagine what we could achieve together: medical advancements, technological innovations, and even cultural exchange. Mills interjected, but you have to understand that trust needs to be built. Your attack on us has created fear. We need assurances that you will not strike again. The air in the small chamber felt charged with tension as Lena and the lead alien faced off, their fates intertwined in that moment. The flickering lights cast a dim glow on the intricately carved murals that depicted scenes of alien triumphs and conquests. Lena's mind raced, grappling with the enormity of what was at stake. Could they truly shift the course of history? What we need is a framework for cooperation, Lena continued, her voice steady despite the weight of uncertainty. An agreement that benefits both our peoples. The lead alien tilted its head, a gesture that seemed both curious and contemplative. Your words are different from what we have known. Our people are taught to conquer, not to share. To trust is a challenge. Mills stepped forward, his demeanor firm but respectful. We understand that, but trust is built through dialogue. We can start small, perhaps by sharing resources or technology that could improve life for your people. The alien considered this, its glowing eyes shifting between Mills and Lena. What you propose is not common for our kind. We will deliberate, but know that resistance is deeply rooted in our culture. As they spoke, a low hum echoed through the chamber, drawing Lena's attention. The ship vibrated slightly, a reminder that they were still aboard an alien vessel in hostile territory. What's happening? She asked, glancing at the alien. There is turmoil among my crew, it replied, a hint of urgency in its voice. They are restless. Many wish to fight, to escape. They do not trust your kind. Lena felt a knot tighten in her stomach. We need to reassure them. If they see that we're not a threat, perhaps we can quell the uprising. The lead alien nodded. Then you will need to speak to them. Bring your words to my people. They must hear the truth. Mills shot Lena a look, his expression a mixture of worry and resolve. Are you ready for that? It could be dangerous. I have to try, Lena replied, steeling herself. This was an opportunity to show the aliens that humanity was more than just a target. If we can communicate directly, we might be able to defuse the situation. Very well, the lead alien said. We will take you to the main deck. But be prepared, my people may not be as open to your message. As they exited the chamber, the atmosphere shifted. The corridor was now filled with a palpable tension, the distant echoes of angry voices filtering through the ship. Lena could sense the unease among her team, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them. Stick together, Mills instructed, and the team fell in line behind him. Lena led the way, her heart pounding in rhythm with each step. They arrived at the main deck, a vast expanse filled with alien technology and personnel. The room was buzzing with activity, but the energy shifted as they entered. Conversations fell silent, and the crew turned to face them, their expressions a mix of curiosity and suspicion. Why have you brought these creatures here? A particularly tall alien barked, its voice sharp like glass. The others murmured in agreement, their collective unease palpable. Lena stepped forward, raising her hands in a gesture of peace. We come not as enemies, but as potential allies. We wish to share our intentions and understand yours. The lead alien positioned itself beside Lena, its presence commanding respect. This is Dr. Lena Ortiz. She seeks to explain our purpose and the potential for cooperation. A wave of skepticism rippled through the crowd. Cooperation? They attacked us, another alien shouted, its voice rising above the rest. They're here to conquer. No, Lena insisted, her voice firm yet calm. We were defending ourselves. Your approach was miscalculated, and it resulted in unnecessary bloodshed. But we can learn from this. We can establish a dialogue. Mills stepped in, hoping to bolster Lena's efforts. We're not just a planet to be taken. We have culture, technology, and a desire for peace. Our civilizations could enrich one another if we set aside our differences. The tension in the room was thick, and Lena could see the glint of doubt in the eyes of the aliens. "You expect us to trust you?" one alien challenged, its voice low and menacing. "What assurances do we have?" Lena felt a rush of determination. "Trust is built through transparency. If you let us show you who we are, you might see that we're not the monsters you think we are." The lead alien turned to its fellow crew members. "Consider her words. We cannot afford to act out of fear. We must evaluate our choices carefully." But dissent was brewing among the ranks. "They will betray us. We cannot risk our lives on their promises," shouted a younger alien, its voice trembling with emotion. Lena noticed a small cluster of aliens standing off to one side, observing the exchange with wary eyes. Among them was one that seemed different, its posture less aggressive, its expression contemplative. She decided to address it directly. "What do you think?" Lena asked, locking eyes with the alien. "Do you believe in the possibility of peace?" The alien hesitated, its gaze shifting between its comrades and Lena. I believe we must try something different. We have fought for so long. Maybe there is another way." Lena felt a spark of hope. "Exactly. We can explore that together. If we can find common ground, we can avoid future conflicts." The lead alien turned back to the group, raising a hand to quell the rising voices. "This is a pivotal moment for us. We must decide if we will continue down the path of destruction or seek understanding." Lena seized the moment, her heart racing. "Let us show you who we are. We can demonstrate our technology, our culture. We're willing to share knowledge that could benefit you as well." The murmurs among the crew grew quieter, uncertainty mingling with curiosity. The lead alien nodded slowly. "Very well. We will allow you to demonstrate your capabilities. But know this, if you deceive us, there will be no second chances." "Understood," Lena replied, her resolve solidifying. "We will show you our best." The atmosphere shifted as the aliens reluctantly lowered their weapons, some exchanging glances that hinted at the possibility of change. It was a fragile truce, but it was a start. "Prepare for a demonstration," the lead alien instructed, turning to its crew. "Gather what we have to share and make contact with the human ship." As they prepared, Lena exchanged a glance with Mills. "This could work," she said, a cautious smile creeping onto her face. "Let's hope they see the potential," he replied, still vigilant but slowly warming to the idea. They gathered in a large chamber designed for communication, where holographic displays flickered to life around them. Lena and her team worked quickly, preparing their technology for a demonstration that would showcase humanity's achievements. As they set up, Lena's mind raced with possibilities. This was their chance to forge a bond with a species that could either be a deadly enemy or a valuable ally. The responsibility weighed heavily on her, but she was determined to make it work. "Ready when you are," Mills said, checking the equipment one last time. "Let's begin," Lena replied, steeling herself for the task ahead. The lead alien activated the communication systems, and a holographic projection materialized in the center of the room, depicting Earth in all its beauty. The blue and green planet glowed with life, surrounded by swirling clouds and the vastness of space. "This is our home," Lena began, her voice steady. "A planet rich in diversity and culture. We have music, art, technology, and a shared history that we are proud of. We wish to share that with you." The aliens watched in silence, their expressions inscrutable. Lena continued, showing images of humanity's greatest achievements: the pyramids of Egypt, the Great Wall of China, the art of Da Vinci, and the moon landing. "These are our milestones," she explained, her passion igniting as she spoke. "Each one represents our desire to explore, to learn, and to grow. We've faced challenges and conflicts, but we have always sought peace in the end." The lead alien nodded, seemingly absorbing the information. "Your accomplishments are remarkable," it admitted, its voice tinged with a hint of respect. "Now let us show you some of our technology," Mills interjected, shifting the presentation to highlight advancements in medicine and renewable energy. The holographic display morphed into visuals of clean energy sources and medical breakthroughs that had saved millions of lives. This technology can benefit both our peoples, Mills emphasized. Imagine what we could achieve together. Lena watched as the alien crew began to murmur among themselves, some visibly impressed by the displays. Perhaps our people could learn from this, the alien who had earlier shown interest said, its tone thoughtful. Encouraged by the positive response, Lena pressed on. We can help you with agricultural techniques, energy production, and even medical care. In exchange, we ask for knowledge about your technology and your culture. An exchange of knowledge? The lead alien mused, clearly intrigued. It is unorthodox, but if it can bring peace. Yes, we can explore the cosmos together, share our discoveries, and protect one another, Lena urged. Together, we can create a legacy that transcends conflict. The atmosphere shifted once again, the tension that had previously dominated the room beginning to dissolve. The lead alien looked at its crew, its gaze lingering on the younger member who had supported Lena earlier. The atmosphere in the chamber had transformed from one of hostility to tentative curiosity. Lena could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her, and she hoped fervently that the path they were on would lead to something positive. The lead alien continued to scan its crew, and for the first time, Lena sensed a shift in the collective mood and openness that had not existed moments before. Let us hear more about your ways, the lead alien finally spoke, its voice steady. If you can prove that cooperation is possible, we may reconsider our stance. With a sense of relief, Lena turned to Mills, who nodded in encouragement. All right, let's dive deeper into what we can offer. The team regrouped, working together to pull up additional holographic displays that showcased more facets of human achievement, art, literature, and advancements in science. Lena selected a series of short films depicting humanity's cultural heritage, from the vibrant festivals of India to the solemn remembrance of historical events. Culture shapes our identity, she explained as the images played. Our stories, our music, our celebrations, they all reflect our hopes, dreams, and struggles. We want to share this with you because we believe it can foster understanding. The aliens watched intently, some visibly moved by the images of joy, sorrow, and resilience. When a short video of a peaceful protest for social justice appeared, murmurs broke out among the alien crew. Your people stand against oppression? One alien asked, its voice filled with incredulity. You fight among yourselves? Yes, Lena replied, acknowledging the complexity of human society. But it is through these struggles that we learn to grow. We've made mistakes, but we strive to do better. We believe in the power of unity and understanding. The lead alien nodded, its expression contemplative. Your struggles are not unlike our own. We, too, have faced dissent and division. Lena seized the opportunity. Exactly. Just as you have factions that fight for different ideals, we too have diverse perspectives. But we've learned that dialogue can bridge those divides. As the presentation continued, Lena noticed a shift in the room. The tension that had once been palpable was now mingled with curiosity and empathy. The holographic displays were met with nods of recognition from some of the aliens, a clear indication that they were beginning to see humanity in a new light. Show us your technology, the lead alien requested, its eyes sparkling with interest. What advances could you offer that would benefit us? Mills stepped forward, eager to showcase their scientific achievements. Let's start with renewable energy. We've developed technologies that harness solar and wind power, drastically reducing our reliance on fossil fuels. This could help your homeworld as well. As Mills explained the intricacies of their technology, Lena's thoughts drifted. She felt a flicker of hope, a sense that they were on the verge of something transformative. Could this be the beginning of a new alliance? Show us, the lead alien commanded, its tone firm. We wish to see these technologies in action. With a wave of her hand, Lena activated a holographic simulation that demonstrated how solar panels absorbed sunlight and converted it into energy. The alien crew watched with rapt attention, and she could see the fascination growing in their eyes. "This is just a basic overview," Lena explained, detailing how the technology could be adapted to different environments, including the harsh conditions of their homeworld. "Imagine a future where you no longer rely on dwindling resources, where energy is abundant and clean." The lead alien leaned forward, intrigue evident in its posture. "This could change everything for us." Mills continued, switching the display to show agricultural technology. "We've developed techniques to grow crops in challenging conditions, ensuring food security for our populations. If you share your agricultural practices, we could enhance both our food production." The discussion deepened, with the aliens asking questions about various technologies and their applications. Lena felt invigorated by their interest, the atmosphere buzzing with excitement. The lead alien, now fully engaged, began to explore the possibilities. "We could adapt your agricultural techniques to our environments," it said thoughtfully. "This would alleviate hunger and poverty among our people." "Yes," Lena exclaimed, her enthusiasm palpable. "We can work together on this. In fact, our scientists could collaborate with yours to develop hybrid systems that leverage the best of both worlds." "Your proposal is intriguing," the lead alien replied, its voice softer now. "It seems there may be benefits in this partnership." As the conversation flowed, Lena felt the old fears dissipate, replaced by an electric energy, a sense of potential that she had never felt before. They were not just two species at odds, they were two civilizations exploring the possibility of mutual growth and understanding. "Let's not stop here," Mills suggested. "Let's talk about space exploration. Together, we could advance our understanding of the universe. Imagine what we could achieve if we pooled our resources and knowledge." The aliens exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from skepticism to curiosity. "You wish to travel beyond your world?" one of them asked, a hint of disbelief in its voice. "Absolutely," Mills replied, animated. "Humanity has sent probes to other planets, explored our solar system, and we have plans for interstellar travel in the near future. If we can join forces, think of the discoveries that await us." Lena chimed in. "We could explore new worlds, search for resources together, and perhaps even find other intelligent life. The universe is vast, and we could navigate it side by side." The lead alien considered this, its glowing eyes reflecting a mixture of hope and caution. "Such ambitions have eluded us for generations, but your passion, it is contagious." Encouraged, Lena pressed on. "Imagine a future where our peoples unite, not just to survive, but to thrive. We could build a legacy that spans the stars, a legacy of cooperation and exploration." Mills nodded, adding weight to her words. "We could share our technological innovations, create joint missions, and even learn from each other's cultures. Together, we can face any challenges the universe throws at us." The discussion deepened, with the alien crew becoming increasingly engaged. Ideas flowed freely as they exchanged visions of what a partnership could look like. Lena felt a sense of camaraderie forming, an understanding blossoming where there had once been animosity. But amidst the optimism, Lena knew they faced obstacles. "We must address the fear and distrust that still lingers among your people," she said, her tone serious. "Many of your crew believe we're a threat. We need a plan to communicate this partnership to everyone on your ship and to your homeworld." The lead alien nodded, acknowledging the point. "We will hold a council meeting to discuss this further. I will present your ideas, and we will need to involve our leaders. It will take time, but this could be the beginning of a new path." As the meeting concluded, Lena felt a rush of hope and determination. This was just the first step, but it was a monumental one. They had transformed the narrative from one of conflict to collaboration. "Thank you for this opportunity," she said, addressing the lead alien and the crew. "Together, we can change the future." As they left the main deck, Lena and Mills shared a glance filled with unspoken understanding. They had faced the unknown, challenged preconceived notions, and taken a bold step toward peace. "Do you think they'll really take this to their leaders?" Mills asked, his voice low. I believe they will, Lena replied, her heart swelling with hope. They've shown a willingness to listen. We just need to keep the momentum going. Let's prepare for their council meeting, Mills suggested. We should gather all our data, our technology, and anything else that can help convince their leaders. Yes, and let's work on a presentation that highlights the benefits of collaboration, Lena agreed. We have to be ready to answer their concerns and fears. We need to show them that unity can lead to greatness. As they moved through the ship, Lena felt a sense of purpose renewed. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were building a bridge to a better future. As they entered their temporary quarters, Mills glanced at Lena, a mix of admiration and respect in his eyes. You were amazing back there, he said. You've got a real gift for communication. Lena smiled, a sense of camaraderie enveloping them. Thank you. But it's not just me. We all contributed. This is a team effort. With determination fueling them, they began to prepare for the next phase. They gathered data, created visuals, and rehearsed their presentation until it felt seamless. Each passing hour only deepened Lena's resolve to forge an alliance. Finally, the day of the council meeting arrived. The atmosphere in the alien ship was electric, tension and anticipation swirling in the air. They were ushered into a grand chamber, a vast room adorned with the intricate designs that characterized the alien aesthetic. The atmosphere was thick with a mix of apprehension and curiosity as Lena and her team prepared to present. Remember, Mills said, his voice steady. We're here to build a future, not just for ourselves, but for them too. Keep the focus on collaboration. Lena nodded, taking a deep breath. Together. As they stood before the council, Lena felt the weight of history resting on her shoulders. We thank you for this opportunity to share our vision, she began, her voice steady despite the intensity of the moment. Today, we stand before you not as enemies, but as partners. We believe that together we can create a legacy of peace, exploration, and understanding. The room fell silent as she launched into the presentation, showcasing the possibilities. Lena stood at the front of the grand chamber, her heart racing as she faced the assembled council of aliens. Their expressions ranged from skepticism to curiosity, and she was determined to shift their perceptions. The vast room was filled with ornate carvings and glowing symbols, an alien language that whispered of their history and struggles. Today, we are here to explore the possibilities of a partnership, she began, her voice clear and strong. We have shared our technology, culture, and hopes, but now we want to engage in a deeper conversation, one that could redefine our futures. As she spoke, Mills activated the holographic display behind her, showcasing stunning visuals of Earth and its diverse cultures. Images of bustling cities, serene landscapes, and vibrant festivals flashed before the council, drawing gasps of awe from some of the members. This is our world, Lena continued, her passion igniting. A world rich in history, creativity, and resilience. We want to share this legacy with you, not as conquerors, but as collaborators. Together, we can achieve so much more than we could alone. She highlighted the advancements they had made in renewable energy, agriculture, and medicine, each point underscored by compelling data and visuals. These technologies can help both our civilizations thrive, she urged. Imagine a future where we no longer fight over resources, but work together to create abundance. The lead alien, who had supported Lena's initial ideas, leaned forward, its expression shifting from skepticism to intrigue. You speak of abundance, but what assurances do we have that your promises are genuine? How can we trust your kind? Lena paused, recognizing the challenge. Trust is not given, it is earned. We understand your fears. We've faced distrust ourselves. But we believe that by working together, we can create a foundation of mutual respect. Let's start small by sharing knowledge and working on joint projects. One of the council members, a fierce-looking alien with vibrant scales, interjected. What if we share our knowledge and you turn on us? You've already demonstrated your ability to harm us. True, Mills acknowledged, stepping up beside Lena. But let's consider the cost of conflict. If we continue down this path, we both stand to lose everything. The universe is vast, but it's also unpredictable. We need allies, not enemies. Lena watched as the council members whispered among themselves, the tension in the room palpable. She sensed that the seeds of doubt were beginning to sprout. We can offer transparency. Let us work side by side, allowing you to witness our intentions firsthand. Witness what? A council member scoffed. You can manipulate anything. Perhaps, Lena conceded, but what if we establish joint oversight on our projects? You could send representatives to monitor our collaboration. We'll do the same. The lead alien nodded slowly, considering the proposal. This might allow us to verify intentions, but what of our histories? Our people have long been taught to view your kind as invaders. That's exactly why we need to change the narrative, Lena replied, her voice firm. History has taught us lessons, but we can choose to write a new chapter together. We need to educate both our peoples about each other's cultures. Understanding is the key to dismantling fear. Mills added, we could initiate cultural exchanges. Let our scientists and artists visit your homeworld, and vice versa. These experiences can foster connections that mere words cannot. The council members were clearly engaged now, leaning in closer as Lena and Mills continued to present their ideas. Lena felt the momentum building, the hope blossoming into something tangible. We want to learn from you, she emphasized, her eyes sweeping across the council. And we want to share our knowledge too. Together, we can innovate and find solutions to challenges that we face separately. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, and Lena seized the moment. Let's take the first step toward collaboration. If we can find common ground in a shared project, it could pave the way for deeper trust. What kind of project? The lead alien asked, its interest piqued. Lena felt a rush of inspiration. What about a joint research initiative focused on environmental sustainability? We could combine our strengths to tackle issues that affect both our worlds. The council members exchanged glances, their expressions thoughtful. This could address resource scarcity, the vibrant-scaled alien said, its voice reflective. But would you share your findings with us, even if they disadvantage your own world? Absolutely, Mills replied. We would have to approach this as equals, sharing all data and findings openly. Our survival depends on working together. Lena continued, if we succeed in this endeavor, it could serve as a blueprint for future collaborations. Imagine what we could accomplish developing technologies that improve life for both species and maybe even extending our cooperation beyond our home systems. Your proposal is intriguing, the lead alien acknowledged, its tone more optimistic. But it will require commitment from both sides. Are your leaders willing to support this initiative? Lena exchanged a glance with Mills. Yes. We will present this to our leaders as well. We're committed to this path, and we hope you will be too. The council members began to nod, a newfound energy swirling among them. If we can find mutual benefits, perhaps this alliance can flourish, the lead alien said, its voice steady. But we must tread carefully, the vibrant-scaled alien cautioned. There are factions within our ranks that remain skeptical. They may resist this idea. Lena's heart sank for a moment, but she quickly regained her composure. We're prepared for that. We can assist in addressing concerns from your people. A transparent approach will be key. Very well, the lead alien said, glancing at its fellow council members. We will need to convene again to discuss the specifics of this collaboration. Your presence here has sparked curiosity and hope among us, but it will take time to shift the perspective of all. Lena felt a wave of relief wash over her. Thank you for your willingness to consider this. We believe that together, we can change the course of history. As they concluded the meeting, Lena and Mills exchanged excited glances. They had ignited a spark of hope in the council, a possibility that had once seemed distant. Walking out of the chamber, Lena felt lighter than she had in days. I can't believe how well that went, she exclaimed, her heart racing. We're actually making progress. Mills chuckled, a mixture of relief and excitement. I think we might have a real chance here, but we still have a lot of work ahead. We need to prepare for their next council meeting and ensure our leaders are on board. Lena nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. Let's gather our team and start drafting a proposal for the joint project. We can outline the benefits and establish a clear framework for cooperation. As they moved through the ship, the crew buzzed with energy. The atmosphere had shifted dramatically, with a sense of unity growing among them. They had transformed fear into curiosity, distrust into hope. Back in their temporary quarters, the team gathered around a table filled with data pads and holographic displays. Lena felt a surge of excitement as they brainstormed ideas for the joint research initiative. What if we focused on a specific ecosystem that both our planets share? Mills suggested. We could study how to restore balance and sustainability. Great idea, Lena replied. We could create a joint task force with scientists from both sides working together. That way, we could combine our methodologies. As they worked late into the night, the room filled with laughter and determination. They were not just fighting for survival, they were building something meaningful. The next morning, they received word from the Alien Council that a follow-up meeting was scheduled. Lena felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. This was their chance to solidify their ideas and gain further support. As they prepared for the meeting, Lena emphasized the importance of being clear and concise. We need to make sure they understand the potential impact of our collaboration. Let's focus on practical examples and outline the next steps clearly. Mills nodded in agreement. And let's be ready to address any concerns they may have. Transparency is key. As they entered the grand chamber once more, Lena took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. The council members were already seated, their expressions serious but intrigued. She could sense the tension in the air, but she also felt the flicker of hope. Thank you for meeting with us again, Lena began, her voice steady. We're here to discuss the specifics of our proposed collaboration on environmental sustainability. The lead alien gestured for her to continue. We have discussed your initial proposal and wish to hear more about how this would work in practice. Lena activated the holographic display, showcasing their plan in detail. We propose forming a joint task force of scientists from both our worlds to study specific ecosystems that are vital for both species. Our initial focus could be on renewable energy sources and sustainable agricultural practices. As she explained the framework, the council members listened intently. Lena highlighted the potential benefits of knowledge sharing, including advancements in technology and environmental preservation. The goal is not just to address immediate challenges, but to create a sustainable future for both our civilizations, Mills added, his voice firm. By working together, we can build a legacy of collaboration that endures. The vibrant scaled alien leaned forward, its eyes narrowing in thought. And how do you propose we address the fears and dissent among our people? Many will not easily accept this alliance. We'll establish transparent communication channels, Lena responded. Regular updates and reports to both our communities will help demystify our intentions. The air in the grand chamber felt electric as Lena stood before the Council of Aliens, her heart pounding with both anticipation and a flicker of fear. The vibrant scaled alien's piercing gaze was locked onto her, and she could feel the weight of the council's scrutiny. She had spent countless hours preparing for this moment, and now was the time to solidify the partnership that had begun to blossom. Thank you for allowing us to present again, Lena began, her voice steady despite the nerves thrumming through her. Today, we aim to detail our proposal for a joint initiative focused on environmental sustainability and knowledge sharing. The lead alien nodded, its glowing eyes reflecting curiosity. We wish to understand the practical implications of your proposal. How will this alliance benefit both our species? Lena activated the holographic display, showcasing an array of data and visuals that outlined their plan. The display flickered to life, revealing vibrant images of Earth's landscapes juxtaposed with alien ecosystems. We propose forming a joint task force, a collaborative team of scientists and researchers from both worlds to address the pressing environmental challenges we face. Mills stepped forward, excitement bubbling beneath the surface. Together, we can study the unique ecosystems on both planets and identify sustainable practices that enhance both our environments. By sharing our knowledge, we can advance technology and solutions that benefit us all. The council members exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of skepticism and intrigue. "And what specific areas of study do you suggest?" the vibrant scaled alien inquired, its tone serious. Lena seized the moment. "Our initial focus could be on renewable energy sources. Earth has made significant strides in harnessing solar, wind, and geothermal energy. We believe there are methodologies and technologies that could be adapted to your environments." She highlighted examples of successful projects on Earth, showcasing the benefits of renewable energy in reducing reliance on fossil fuels and mitigating climate change. "Imagine a future where both our worlds thrive on clean energy, where resources are abundant and pollution is minimized." Another council member, a sleek alien with shimmering skin, leaned forward. "Your words are compelling, but many of our people have been raised to distrust humans. How do you intend to address these fears?" Mills took a step closer, sensing the weight of the moment. "We must acknowledge the history of conflict and fear, but we believe that the best way to combat that fear is through direct engagement and transparency. We are committed to a process of open communication and collaboration." Lena nodded, her resolve solidifying. "We propose regular updates to both our communities about the progress of our joint initiatives. We can hold public forums, allowing both our peoples to voice concerns and share ideas." "And what if there are disagreements?" the lead alien asked, its tone contemplative. "Conflicts arise even among allies." "Every partnership faces challenges," Mills replied earnestly. "But by establishing a framework for dialogue, we can navigate those conflicts together." This task force would prioritize cooperation over competition. Lena could see the council members considering this, their expressions shifting as they absorbed the implications. "If we are to proceed," the vibrant scaled alien said slowly, "we must also address the historical context. Our people will need to understand that this is not merely a one-sided arrangement." "Absolutely," Lena agreed, her heart racing with the potential for connection. "We want to learn from your culture, just as you can learn from ours. We propose cultural exchange programs, scientific delegations, artistic collaborations, and educational initiatives. We want to foster relationships that transcend our historical animosities." The council members were engaged now, some nodding thoughtfully as they considered the implications of Lena's words. "What if we create an event, a symposium?" the lead alien suggested. "A platform for both our peoples to showcase our cultures, technologies, and visions for the future." "That's an excellent idea," Mills exclaimed, his excitement infectious. "We could invite scientists, artists, and leaders from both worlds to share their knowledge and foster dialogue. This could serve as a launchpad for our collaborative initiatives." As the discussion unfolded, Lena felt a sense of momentum building. They were not just presenting a proposal. They were laying the groundwork for a relationship that could redefine their futures. She sensed the council's skepticism softening, replaced by a cautious optimism. The vibrant scaled alien's expression shifted as it spoke. "Your willingness to engage in cultural exchanges is noted, but we still require assurances. Trust must be built over time." Lena felt a pang of anxiety but remained steadfast. "We understand the need for patience. Building trust takes time, and we're prepared to invest in that process. If we are committed to transparency and collaboration, we can work towards a future where fear is replaced by understanding." "What will our first steps be?" the lead alien asked, its tone serious but hopeful. "We can initiate a pilot project focusing on renewable energy," Lena proposed, her mind racing with possibilities. "Let's select a specific ecosystem that needs revitalization. Our teams can collaborate on restoring that environment, while developing renewable energy solutions. The council members murmured among themselves, clearly engaged in the discussion. "This could set a precedent," the vibrant scaled alien said, its voice thoughtful. "But we must be careful. Our histories are fraught with tension." "Agreed," Mills interjected. "We will need to communicate openly with our peoples, outlining the goals and expected outcomes of this project. We should also include representatives from both sides in the planning stages to ensure inclusivity." The lead alien nodded slowly, its gaze piercing but contemplative. "If we proceed with this, we must ensure our communities are on board. We cannot afford to move forward without their support." Lena felt a wave of hope wash over her. "We will work diligently to build that support. We can organize community outreach, educational programs, and informational sessions to clarify our intentions and foster understanding." As the meeting progressed, the council members became increasingly engaged, asking questions and exploring various aspects of the proposed partnership. Lena felt the tension of the previous meetings dissipate, replaced by a growing sense of possibility. Finally, the lead alien spoke. "You have given us much to consider. While we remain cautious, we are willing to move forward with your proposal. We will convene a separate council to discuss the specifics of this partnership and report back to you." "Thank you," Lena exclaimed, her heart racing with exhilaration. "This is a monumental step forward. We appreciate your willingness to explore this path with us." As they exited the chamber, Mills turned to Lena, his expression brimming with excitement. "We did it. They're actually willing to consider our proposal." "Yes, but we still have a long way to go," Lena replied, her mind racing with thoughts. "We need to be prepared for the next steps and ensure our leaders are on board. We have to maintain this momentum." Over the next few days, the atmosphere on the alien ship buzzed with energy and hope. The crew worked tirelessly, preparing for the upcoming symposium and developing the framework for the joint task force. Lena felt invigorated, her dreams of collaboration inching closer to reality. As they brainstormed ideas for the symposium, Mills suggested, "Let's showcase both our cultures. We can organize workshops, performances, and panel discussions. We want to highlight the best of what humanity has to offer, while encouraging your people to share their unique perspectives." Lena nodded enthusiastically. "And let's ensure that we emphasize the importance of cooperation and understanding. This isn't just about sharing knowledge, it's about building relationships." Days turned into weeks as they organized the event, and excitement swelled among both crews. The symposium became a symbol of hope, a gathering of two worlds coming together to explore the future. Finally, the day of the symposium arrived. The grand chamber was transformed, filled with vibrant displays showcasing Earth's culture alongside the rich traditions of the aliens. Lena felt a mix of nervousness and excitement as she prepared to welcome their guests. As the aliens arrived, Lena and Mills greeted them warmly, their enthusiasm palpable. The atmosphere was electric, and conversations flowed freely as they exchanged ideas and experiences. Lena felt a sense of connection building, a bridge slowly forming between their worlds. As the symposium progressed, Lena watched with awe as representatives from both species engaged in discussions about technology, culture, and the future. The energy in the room was infectious, and Lena could sense the shift in perception among the alien council members. During one of the workshops, Lena found herself sitting across from a group of alien scientists. They were animatedly discussing their agricultural practices, and Lena felt a surge of excitement as they shared their insights. "This method of irrigation has transformed our ability to grow crops in challenging environments," one of the aliens explained, its eyes bright with passion. "We would love to learn from your experiences with hydroponics and vertical farming." Lena smiled, eager to engage. "We've made significant strides in those areas. I believe there's so much we can learn from each other. Let's explore potential collaborations." As the day unfolded, Lena felt an overwhelming sense of hope. They were not just exchanging knowledge, they were forging connections, breaking down barriers, and building a future together. As the symposium concluded, Lena and Mills stood before the assembled crowd, a mixture of humans and aliens, their expressions filled with excitement and hope. "Today marks a pivotal moment in our journey together," Lena said, her voice steady and clear. "We've taken the first steps towards a partnership that can transform both our worlds." Mills continued, "Let's embrace this opportunity for collaboration, understanding, and growth. Together, we can create a legacy of unity that extends beyond our planets." The crowd erupted into applause, and Lena felt a swell of emotion. This was the beginning of something monumental, a partnership that could change the course of history. The symposium had concluded with an electric atmosphere of excitement and camaraderie, but Lena knew that the real work lay ahead. The initial spark of connection between their worlds was promising, yet the path forward would be fraught with challenges. As she and Mills walked through the now quiet grand chamber, the weight of their mission settled heavily on their shoulders. "Today was incredible," Mills said, a wide grin on his face. "Did you see the enthusiasm in the room? They really engaged with our ideas." Lena nodded, her heart still racing from the day's events. "Yes, but we have to remember that enthusiasm doesn't always translate to commitment. We need to keep that momentum going and solidify our plans with actionable steps." Mills looked thoughtful. "What do you think our first move should be? We need to build on this goodwill before any skepticism creeps back in." Lena paused, her mind racing through the possibilities. "We should form the joint task force as soon as possible. If we can get a few key projects underway, it will demonstrate our commitment and provide tangible results." Mills agreed. "Let's present a clear framework to the Council for how this task force will operate. We need to outline the objectives, the roles of both species, and the timeline for the initial projects." As they made their way back to their quarters, the sense of purpose surged within Lena. She was determined to see this partnership flourish, to transform it from a concept into reality. They would not only work to share knowledge, but also to build lasting bonds of trust. The next morning, Lena and Mills gathered their team to strategize. Around the table, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement, but there was also an undercurrent of anxiety. Each crew member understood the stakes. The survival of their respective worlds hung in the balance. "We need to prioritize our goals for the joint task force," Lena began, glancing around the table. "What do we want to achieve in the next 6 months?" "We could focus on renewable energy first," suggested Sarah, one of the scientists from Lena's team. "If we can develop a working model together, it could serve as a powerful symbol of our collaboration." "Agreed," Mills replied. "We should target an area with clear environmental needs, something that will resonate with both our peoples." Lena thought for a moment. "What about the polluted river system on the alien planet? If we can implement a joint restoration project, it could provide immediate benefits and demonstrate our commitment to environmental sustainability." The team nodded, visibly excited at the prospect. "And we can utilize both Earth and alien technologies to enhance the project," Mills added. "By showcasing a mix of our approaches, we can highlight the strengths of both civilizations." As they laid out their plan, Lena felt a surge of hope. Each step they discussed brought them closer to turning their vision into reality. They outlined their objectives, set deadlines, and divided responsibilities, working tirelessly to create a roadmap for success. Days turned into weeks as they prepared for the launch of the joint task force. Lena felt the pressure mounting, but she also sensed that they were on the cusp of something transformative. They had scheduled a follow-up meeting with the Alien Council to present their proposal formally, and she wanted to make sure they were fully prepared. As they gathered in the grand chamber once more, Lena's heart raced with anticipation. The council members were present, their expressions a mix of curiosity and caution. Lena took a deep breath, reminding herself of the importance of this moment. "Thank you for meeting with us again," she began, her voice steady. "Today, we are excited to present our proposal for the Joint Task Force on Environmental Sustainability, starting with the restoration of your planet's polluted river systems." The lead alien leaned forward, its gaze intense. "We are listening." Mills activated the holographic display, showcasing their detailed proposal. Images of the polluted river appeared alongside visuals of successful restoration projects on Earth. We have identified specific strategies that leverage both Earth's technologies and your advanced methods to restore the river and its surrounding ecosystem. Lena elaborated on their plan, emphasizing the collaborative approach. This task force will consist of scientists and researchers from both our worlds, working side by side to address this environmental challenge. By sharing our expertise, we can create innovative solutions that benefit both species. The vibrant scaled alien raised an eyebrow. And what are the expected outcomes of this project? How will we measure success? Mills responded confidently. Our primary goal will be to improve water quality, restore native vegetation, and enhance biodiversity in the affected areas. We will establish measurable benchmarks to track progress, and will conduct regular assessments to ensure transparency. The council members exchanged glances, and Lena could sense their skepticism beginning to wane. This could serve as a critical test of our partnership, the lead alien mused. But what if we face setbacks? Our histories are filled with failures. Every project comes with risks, Lena replied earnestly. But by working together and maintaining open communication, we can address challenges as they arise. Our commitment to transparency will allow us to adapt and overcome obstacles. The council members were engaged, discussing among themselves. Finally, the vibrant scaled alien spoke again. If we are to proceed with this task force, we will need to ensure that our communities are supportive. This will require significant outreach and education. Absolutely, Mills said. We plan to initiate community engagement efforts, including informational sessions and workshops, to help both our peoples understand the importance of this project. Lena could see the council members nodding, a glimmer of hope beginning to form in their expressions. Very well, the lead alien said. We will support the establishment of this joint task force, but you must understand the importance of cultural sensitivity in our outreach efforts. Of course, Lena agreed. We will prioritize inclusivity and respect for your traditions and practices throughout this process. As they concluded the meeting, Lena felt a rush of exhilaration. They had taken a significant step toward making their vision a reality, and the prospect of collaboration was more tangible than ever. In the weeks that followed, the Joint Task Force was officially established. Lena and Mills worked closely with their alien counterparts, forging connections that deepened with each passing day. The atmosphere of cooperation was palpable, and Lena felt a growing sense of optimism. As they conducted their first assessments of the polluted river, Lena and her team collaborated seamlessly with their alien counterparts. They exchanged ideas, strategies, and insights, and Lena was amazed by the innovative techniques the aliens brought to the table. Your approach to bioremediation is fascinating, Lena remarked to one of the alien scientists, who had shared their methods for using specific microorganisms to cleanse the water. We've had success with similar techniques on Earth, but your application is truly unique. The alien scientist smiled, its scales shimmering in the sunlight. By combining our knowledge, we can develop even more effective solutions. This partnership allows us to think outside the box. As the project progressed, Lena watched as relationships formed not just between the scientists, but also between their communities. The outreach efforts began to bear fruit, and the initial skepticism from both sides slowly transformed into curiosity and excitement. Local schools organized joint events, inviting students from both species to participate in workshops that showcased their cultures and scientific achievements. Lena saw young aliens and humans sharing ideas, playing games, and learning about each other's histories. The barriers that had once divided them began to crumble. However, amid the burgeoning optimism, Lena sensed an undercurrent of tension. Not everyone was on board with this collaboration, and whispers of dissent lingered in the background. She had heard rumblings of a faction within the alien community that remained staunchly opposed to any alliance with humans. One evening, as Lena and Mills reviewed progress reports, Sarah entered their quarters, her expression serious. I just received some troubling news. There's a growing movement among some factions on the alien side that are calling for the dissolution of the task force. They believe collaborating with us is a betrayal of their heritage. Lena felt her stomach drop. What are they citing as their reasons? They argue that we're exploiting their resources and attempting to erase their culture, Sarah explained. Some believe that working with us will only lead to further harm. Mills leaned back, his brow furrowing. We knew there would be challenges, but this could jeopardize everything we've worked for. Lena took a deep breath, her mind racing. We need to address this head on. If we ignore it, the situation could escalate, and we can't afford to lose the momentum we've built. We should organize a community forum, Mills suggested. This could provide a platform for open dialogue, where concerns can be voiced and addressed. Absolutely, Lena agreed. We'll invite both our communities, giving everyone the chance to share their perspectives. This needs to be a safe space for discussion. Over the next few days, Lena and Mills worked tirelessly to organize the forum, promoting it through community outreach efforts and ensuring that everyone felt welcome to participate. They understood the stakes were high, and they were determined to create an atmosphere of transparency and respect. On the day of the forum, Lena stood at the front of the grand chamber, a palpable sense of tension in the air. The room was filled with both humans and aliens, their expressions a mix of apprehension and curiosity. This was a crucial moment, and she felt the weight of their expectations resting heavily on her shoulders. Thank you all for joining us today, Lena began, her voice steady. We're here to discuss the Joint Task Force and address any concerns you may have. It's important that we listen to one another and engage in constructive dialogue. Mills stepped forward. We understand that there are apprehensions about this collaboration. As Lena scanned the crowd, she noticed a mix of familiar faces from both communities' enthusiastic supporters and skeptics alike. The atmosphere was charged, and the palpable tension was underscored by the low murmurs echoing through the chamber. She knew this forum could be a turning point. The dialogue they initiated today would set the tone for their future together. Mills continued. This partnership was born from a desire to share knowledge and work towards common goals. We want to emphasize that our intention is not to dominate or exploit, but to learn from each other and address the challenges we both face. Lena gestured for the audience to speak. Let's start with your questions and concerns. We're here to listen and engage openly. A human in the front row raised his hand, his brow furrowed. I've heard some of our alien counterparts express concerns that we're not respecting their cultural heritage. How do we address this? Lena nodded, acknowledging the weight of the question. That's a valid concern. Cultural sensitivity is vital to the success of our partnership. We must ensure that all our initiatives respect and incorporate alien traditions and practices. Before she could elaborate, an alien in the back stood up, its scales glimmering in the light. I represent a faction that believes we should not be collaborating with humans at all. Our history is riddled with conflict, and it feels like we are ignoring the lessons of our past. A murmur rippled through the crowd, and Lena felt the atmosphere shift. This was the moment she had been anticipating, the clash of perspectives that could either strengthen their partnership or drive a wedge between them. Thank you for sharing your perspective, Mills responded, his tone respectful. We acknowledge that history has its shadows, but we believe we have the opportunity to rewrite that narrative through cooperation. Our goal is to address the environmental challenges we both face and to build a future that respects our histories. The alien continued. But what happens when conflicts arise? How do we ensure that one culture does not dominate the other? Our traditions and practices must not be overshadowed. Lena felt a surge of determination. We are committed to creating a framework that prioritizes inclusivity and mutual respect. We propose establishing a cultural advisory council within the task force, representatives from both our peoples who can oversee our initiatives and ensure that all voices are heard. The alien hesitated, glancing at its peers before sitting down. Lena sensed that this proposal resonated with some in the audience, but the tension was far from resolved. Another hand shot up, a human this time. How do we know that this task force will genuinely benefit both sides? There are voices suggesting this is simply a means for humans to extract resources from your planet. Lena's heart sank at the accusation, but she remained composed. That is not our intention at all. Our approach is centered around shared benefits. We aim to address urgent environmental issues together, not exploit any resources. The success of this project hinges on cooperation and trust from both sides. As the discussion continued, more questions emerged, ranging from concerns about resource allocation to fears about cultural assimilation. Lena and Mills fielded the questions, remaining patient and open. After an hour of dialogue, Lena noticed a gradual shift. Skeptical voices began to soften as they saw the commitment in Lena and Mills' responses. One alien elder stood up, her voice trembling but strong. "I am torn, but I see your sincerity. If we are to do this, we must honor both our cultures equally. Our people need to feel respected." Mills seized the opportunity. "That's precisely our goal. We want to integrate our methods with your traditions. Together, we can develop a process that respects both our heritages and ensures that no culture is overshadowed." A human woman then spoke, her tone thoughtful. "We've all seen how easy it is for one culture to erase another in the name of progress. How will we ensure that doesn't happen?" "Cultural exchange programs are essential," Lena interjected. "We need to create opportunities for both our peoples to learn from one another. Workshops, artistic collaborations, and educational exchanges can foster understanding and help dispel fears." The discussions continued for another hour, and Lena felt encouraged as she witnessed the community slowly engage with the possibilities of collaboration. The initial fears had not evaporated entirely, but the forum had created a space for honest dialogue. As the meeting concluded, Lena felt a weight lift. "Thank you all for your participation today," she said. "We are committed to nurturing this relationship and addressing the concerns raised. Let's work together to make this partnership a beacon of hope for both our worlds." As the crowd dispersed, Mills turned to Lena, his eyes shining with pride. "You did great out there. This wasn't easy, but we made progress." Lena smiled, still feeling the adrenaline of the forum. "We did, but we can't let our guard down. There are still factions opposed to us, and we need to keep the dialogue open." Days turned into weeks as the task force began its work. The energy was palpable, but so was the undercurrent of dissent. Despite the progress made during the forum, Lena remained vigilant, aware that skepticism still lingered in the shadows. The team set out to begin the restoration of the polluted river, and Lena was excited to see the project come to life. They gathered data, assessing the current conditions and discussing methodologies that combined Earth and alien practices. As they worked, Lena felt a sense of purpose growing within her. The scientists from both sides collaborated seamlessly, their shared vision for the project transcending their differences. It was exhilarating to witness, but she couldn't shake the feeling that not everyone was on board. One afternoon, while taking samples along the riverbank, Lena noticed a group of aliens watching them from a distance. Their expressions were tense, and Lena felt a pang of concern. She approached them, curiosity driving her forward. "Hello," she said, trying to sound approachable. "Can I help you with something?" The lead alien stepped forward, its scales reflecting the sunlight. "We are here to observe. Many in our community are concerned about the direction this task force is taking." Lena held her breath, bracing for potential confrontation. "What specifically are your concerns?" "We worry that our knowledge will be misused or that this project will lead to further exploitation of our resources," the alien replied, its voice cautious but firm. Lena's heart raced. "I understand your fears, and I assure you that our intent is to create a collaborative effort that benefits both our species. We are committed to honoring your traditions and ensuring that this project respects your knowledge." The alien exchanged glances with its companions. "We wish to see evidence of this. Our people need reassurance." Lena nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. How can we provide that reassurance? What steps would help bridge the gap? The alien hesitated, then spoke carefully. Perhaps we need to see more engagement from our elders, more transparency in how decisions are made. If we can involve our community leaders, perhaps trust can be built over time. That's a reasonable request, Lena replied. We can establish regular meetings with community leaders to discuss progress and address concerns as they arise. I'll make sure we prioritize this. The alien nodded slowly. We will return and discuss this with our community. We hope to see actions that match your words. As they parted ways, Lena felt a renewed sense of determination. She gathered her team that evening, sharing the conversation she had with the observing aliens. We need to make our commitment visible, she said, pacing the room. If we want to build trust, we have to demonstrate our dedication to transparency and inclusivity. Mills looked thoughtful. Perhaps we can organize open community meetings where both our leaders and theirs can engage directly with the public. This way, they can voice their concerns and ask questions in an open forum. That's a fantastic idea, Lena agreed. We need to create an environment where everyone feels heard and valued. As the team worked on planning these meetings, Lena felt a sense of urgency. She understood that every step they took mattered, that each interaction could either foster trust or exacerbate divisions. The first community meeting was scheduled for the following week, and the anticipation was palpable. Flyers had been distributed, and both communities were encouraged to attend. Lena felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as the day approached. On the day of the meeting, she stood before the gathered crowd, her heart pounding. The atmosphere was charged, and she could see familiar faces from both sides, alongside those of the skeptics. "Thank you all for coming," Lena began, her voice steady but laced with emotion. "Today is an opportunity for open dialogue between our communities. We want to hear your thoughts, your questions, and your concerns about the task force and our ongoing collaboration." A human woman raised her hand immediately. "How can we trust that this task force will actually benefit both our worlds?" Lena met her gaze, feeling the weight of the question. "Trust is built through transparency and communication. We are committed to keeping you informed about our progress and the decisions we make." An alien elder stood up, voice strong but cautious. "Many of us worry that our knowledge will be overshadowed by human methodologies. How will you ensure that our traditional practices are integrated into the project?" "Your knowledge is invaluable," Lena replied earnestly. "We want to combine our methods, drawing on both Earth's scientific advancements and your traditional practices. This partnership relies on mutual respect." Another alien chimed in. "But how will we know our voices are truly being heard in this process?" The discussion deepened as the community meeting progressed, and Lena felt both the weight of her responsibilities and the hope of collaboration in the air. As they navigated through questions and concerns, she noted a gradual shift in attitudes. The dialogues weren't easy, but they were essential. "Let's consider how to incorporate our traditional practices into the restoration project," the alien elder continued, her voice resonating through the chamber. "If we can showcase our methods alongside yours, it may help build trust within our community." "Absolutely," Mills replied. "We can document and highlight your practices through our outreach materials. We want to ensure everyone understands the importance of both cultures in this work." As the meeting wore on, various members from both communities began sharing their perspectives, creating a rich tapestry of dialogue. Lena felt a renewed sense of purpose with each voice that contributed. A human man, clearly passionate, raised his hand. "What about ongoing monitoring of the river restoration? How will we assess the success of the project, and how can community members get involved?" "That's a crucial point," Lena acknowledged. "We will establish a community monitoring program. Both human and alien volunteers will be invited to participate in collecting data, ensuring that everyone feels involved in this critical work." The audience murmured in agreement, and Lena could see that the proposal resonated. It was a step towards inclusion, a way to bring both communities together through shared responsibility. An alien youth spoke up next, her voice steady. "I want to learn about your technology, but I also want to share my culture. How can we create a space for that?" Lena's heart swelled with pride at the enthusiasm. "We can set up workshops where we exchange knowledge, science fairs, art shows, cultural festivals. This will not only highlight our strengths, but also foster personal connections between us." The youth nodded, clearly excited by the idea. Lena felt the energy in the room shift, a sense of unity beginning to blossom as more people expressed their hopes for collaboration. As the meeting came to a close, Lena felt a sense of accomplishment. They had addressed concerns, proposed actionable steps, and begun to weave a narrative of partnership between their communities. But she also knew the road ahead was fraught with challenges, and the dissenting voices wouldn't vanish overnight. In the following weeks, Lena dedicated herself to the tasks at hand. The establishment of the Cultural Advisory Council took shape, with representatives from both communities volunteering to participate. They began meeting regularly, discussing how to ensure that the joint task force operated with transparency and respect for both cultures. Mills had also been busy organizing the community monitoring program. Volunteers were recruited from both sides, eager to contribute to the river restoration project. The excitement was palpable as they held training sessions, where scientists from both cultures taught the techniques they would use for monitoring. Lena reveled in the energy and enthusiasm surrounding the project. For the first time, she could envision a future where both species worked harmoniously, tackling shared challenges with creativity and collaboration. But she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. One evening, after a long day of training, Lena found herself strolling along the riverbank, lost in thought. The sun was setting, casting golden hues over the water, and she felt a rare moment of peace. As she paused to take in the view, she noticed movement from the corner of her eye. Stepping closer, she saw a group of aliens standing at a distance, their expressions unreadable. She approached cautiously, unsure of their intent. As she drew nearer, the lead alien stepped forward, its scales shimmering in the fading light. "We have come to observe," it said, its voice low. "Many in our community are still wary of this collaboration. We want to understand what you are doing." "Of course," Lena replied, her tone welcoming. "We're currently preparing for the community monitoring program. Would you like to join us?" The alien regarded her with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. "We wish to see how you conduct these trainings. Knowledge must flow both ways if trust is to be built." Lena nodded, appreciating their willingness to engage. "Then please, come along. We would be glad to have your input." As they walked back to the training area, Lena felt the weight of their presence. She hoped that their participation would foster understanding, but she couldn't ignore the underlying tension that hung in the air. The next training session saw an unexpected turnout. Lena was thrilled to see a mix of humans and aliens participating, creating an atmosphere of collaboration. As she led the session, the diverse group engaged in discussions about water quality, species identification, and the ecological significance of the river. "Water quality is essential for both our communities," Lena explained, demonstrating the testing equipment. "We will measure pollutants, track changes over time, and analyze how the restoration efforts impact local wildlife." The alien observers watched closely, occasionally murmuring amongst themselves. Lena felt a sense of pride as she showcased the technology they were using, explaining the methodologies in detail. Afterward, one of the alien representatives approached her. "Your methods are effective, but they lack the connection to our traditional practices. We have our own ways of knowing and understanding the river." Lena felt her heart race. "I'd love to learn more about those practices. We want to integrate your knowledge into our efforts. Could you share some specific techniques with us?" The alien hesitated, then nodded. "We have traditional ceremonies that honor the river's spirit. They are crucial for our community's relationship with the environment. Perhaps you could witness one." "I would be honored," Lena replied, excitement bubbling within her. It's essential that we incorporate your traditions into our project." Days turned into weeks, and Lena found herself immersed in both the scientific and cultural aspects of the project. The river restoration effort was progressing, with community members actively participating in data collection and monitoring. The Cultural Advisory Council had begun to host workshops, exchanging knowledge between their peoples, and the atmosphere of collaboration continued to grow. As the date for the traditional ceremony approached, Lena felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness. She had read about the significance of such events and understood that her participation would symbolize a commitment to honoring the alien culture. On the day of the ceremony, Lena dressed carefully, donning a ceremonial garb that the aliens had provided. She arrived at the riverbank, where a gathering of aliens awaited her, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and solemnity. The lead alien approached her, its scales glimmering under the sunlight. "Thank you for joining us, Lena. Your presence is a sign of respect for our traditions." "I'm honored to be here," Lena replied sincerely. "I want to understand and honor the significance of this ceremony." As the ceremony began, the air was filled with melodic chants, resonating through the trees. Lena watched in awe as the aliens performed rituals that celebrated the river's spirit, pouring offerings into the water and sharing stories of their connection to the land. At one point, the lead alien turned to Lena. "Now, we invite you to speak. Share your intentions for the river." Lena's heart raced as she stepped forward. "Thank you for allowing me to participate in this sacred ceremony. I commit to working alongside you to restore and honor this river. Together, we will protect its spirit and ensure its health for generations to come." The audience responded with a chorus of approval, and Lena felt a rush of acceptance. She knew this moment was pivotal for their partnership, solidifying their commitment to honor both cultures. As the months progressed, the restoration project continued to thrive. Lena and Mills watched as the river began to show signs of recovery. The monitoring data revealed improvements in water quality and a resurgence of local flora and fauna. The sense of achievement was palpable, and the bond between the communities grew stronger. But not all was well. Lena sensed a rising tension among the dissenting faction, and whispers of discontent grew louder. Despite the successes, some remained unconvinced that the partnership was genuine. One evening, as Lena prepared for a meeting with the Cultural Advisory Council, she received an urgent message from one of her alien counterparts. "There's a gathering of dissenters tonight. They plan to voice their opposition to the task force and call for its dissolution. We need your support." Lena's heart sank. "I'll be there. This is our chance to address their concerns directly." As she arrived at the gathering, she was met with a sea of skeptical faces. The air was thick with tension, and she could see the leaders of the dissenting faction at the front, their expressions resolute. "Thank you for coming," the lead alien said, voice steady. "We have concerns about the task force and its intentions. Many in our community feel that this collaboration is not genuine and that our culture is at risk." Lena stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "I understand your fears, and I want to assure you that our goal has always been to build a partnership based on respect and equality. We have seen tangible improvements in our environment because of our collaboration." "But at what cost?" a dissenting voice shouted from the back. "You may talk of partnership, but we see a culture eroding. We are losing our identity in the process." Lena took a deep breath, knowing this was a critical moment. "I hear your concerns, and I want to emphasize that our collaboration is not meant to erase your culture. We are committed to integrating your knowledge and traditions into our project. Together, we can honor our differences while working toward common goals." As she spoke, she noticed some of the dissenters nodding, their expressions softening slightly. "We've seen changes, but we need to see more community involvement. We want to be included in the decision." Dissenters shifted restlessly, their skepticism palpable as Lena and Mills stood before them, but Lena could sense a flicker of curiosity amidst the tension. They were tired of feeling sidelined, and she understood that it was crucial to show them they had a voice in this partnership. "Let's have an open dialogue," Lena suggested, her tone inviting. Please share your thoughts and ideas on how we can improve our collaboration. This is your opportunity to shape our approach. The lead dissenting alien, a tall figure with deep, vibrant scales, stepped forward. We want to ensure that our cultural practices are not merely included as an afterthought. They are integral to who we are. We need to see that respect in action. Absolutely, Mills replied earnestly. We want to make your traditions a core part of our initiatives, but we need your help in guiding us on how best to do that. We're open to suggestions. A human in the crowd raised a hand. But what does that look like? How do we balance our methodologies without overshadowing each other? Lena smiled, grateful for the engagement. We can create joint committees focusing on specific aspects of the project: cultural exchange programs, educational initiatives, and monitoring efforts. These committees can include members from both communities and ensure that decisions reflect our shared values. The lead dissenting alien considered this for a moment, its scales shimmering as it shifted. We want to see those committees in action. Let's establish a structure where both our peoples can voice their concerns and proposals regularly. Agreed, Lena said, heartened by the suggestion. Let's draft a framework for these committees in our next meeting. We can outline specific roles and responsibilities to ensure everyone feels represented. The crowd began to murmur, a blend of cautious optimism and lingering doubt. Lena felt that the door to collaboration was slowly opening, and she was determined to keep it ajar. As discussions continued, another voice emerged from the back of the room. What about the community monitoring program? How can we ensure it reflects our practices, not just your methods? Lena turned to Mills, and they exchanged a quick glance. We can create dual training sessions, Mills proposed. One that focuses on Earth-based methodologies and another that showcases your traditional ecological knowledge. This way, we can learn from each other and find a middle ground. The lead alien nodded slowly. That is a step in the right direction, but we need action. Words are no longer enough. Lena sensed the urgency in their plea. Then let's establish a timeline for these initiatives. We can schedule regular meetings to discuss progress and ensure accountability. If we commit to specific actions, we can start rebuilding trust. As the meeting concluded, a sense of cautious optimism began to permeate the room. While the path ahead was still fraught with challenges, Lena felt a renewed energy, one that suggested change was possible if they all worked together. In the weeks that followed, the task force made significant strides. They organized workshops to educate both communities on the dual methodologies they planned to implement. Each session was designed to be inclusive, with ample opportunities for discussion and feedback. Lena watched as the excitement grew. The commitment from both sides began to bear fruit, and for the first time, she felt the tangible benefits of collaboration manifesting in their work. The river's ecosystem was responding positively, and with each passing day, the bond between the communities grew stronger. One evening, while reviewing the monitoring data with Mills, Lena's heart soared as she noted a significant improvement in water quality. "Look at this," she said, pointing to the data on her tablet. "The levels of pollutants have decreased by nearly 50% since we started this project." Mills grinned, his enthusiasm infectious. "This is incredible. It's proof that our efforts are making a difference. And with the cultural programs taking shape, we're moving closer to full collaboration." Lena nodded, but a lingering concern tugged at her mind. "While the data is promising, I can't shake the feeling that there are still factions within both communities that remain unconvinced. We need to keep building bridges." Just then, a notification pinged on her tablet. It was a message from one of the Cultural Advisory Council members. "Urgent meeting needed. There are growing concerns about the direction of the task force. Please gather everyone." Lena's stomach sank. This doesn't sound good. When they arrived at the meeting, the atmosphere was thick with unease. Members from both communities were gathered, their expressions serious. The lead alien stood at the front, its scales darkening with tension. There are voices within our communities expressing doubt about this collaboration, the lead alien announced. Some feel that our traditions are being overshadowed, that our contributions are not being valued. Lena felt her heart race. I understand your concerns, and I assure you that we are committed to inclusivity. We have made strides, but we cannot ignore the fact that many are still feeling marginalized. An older human spoke up. We must address these feelings head-on. If we don't, this partnership will crumble before it has a chance to thrive. Mills interjected. We need a new initiative, a series of open forums where community members can voice their concerns directly. We must listen and adapt. The lead alien nodded slowly. That is a start, but we also need to showcase our cultures more prominently in this project. If we do not see our identities reflected, how can we trust this partnership? Lena felt a rush of determination. Let's develop a series of cultural events that highlight both communities. Festivals, art exhibitions, and educational programs, these can serve as platforms for both cultures to shine and for community members to learn from one another. The room buzzed with conversation as the proposal was discussed. Lena watched as some faces softened, and she felt a glimmer of hope that the path to healing could begin anew. The planning for the cultural events commenced, and Lena felt energized as she worked alongside both human and alien volunteers. They brainstormed ideas, discussing how to create a series of events that would celebrate their unique traditions while fostering understanding and connection. As the first festival approached, excitement filled the air. Flyers were distributed, and preparations were made to showcase traditional music, food, and art from both cultures. Lena was thrilled to see the community coming together, each group contributing their unique perspectives and talents. On the day of the festival, the riverbank transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors and sounds. Stalls were set up, filled with crafts, foods, and educational displays that highlighted both human and alien cultures. Lena felt a sense of pride as she witnessed the beauty of collaboration come to life. As the festivities kicked off, Lena wandered through the stalls, chatting with attendees and sharing in the joy of the day. She could see children from both communities laughing together, families mingling, and a spirit of camaraderie blossoming. The lead alien approached her, its scales glimmering under the sunlight. This is more than I expected. Your people have embraced our culture. Lena smiled, her heart swelling with joy. This is just the beginning. We're committed to fostering a lasting partnership that honors both our traditions. As the sun began to set, the main stage came alive with music. Traditional songs filled the air, blending the sounds of both cultures. Lena stood with Mills, watching as community members danced together, their movements a celebration of unity. This is amazing, Mills said, his eyes sparkling. We've really done it. Look at how far we've come. Lena nodded, but her gaze drifted to a group of dissenters watching from the sidelines. Their expressions were guarded, and she felt a pang of concern. She knew their journey was far from complete, and they needed to be included in this celebration. Taking a deep breath, she approached the dissenters, her heart racing. I see you all here, and I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the festival? The lead dissenting alien crossed its arms, its scales reflecting the fading light. It's a nice event, but it feels like a veneer. Are you truly committed to our culture, or is this just a show? Lena met their gaze with sincerity. I understand your skepticism, and I want to assure you that this festival is just one step toward a deeper collaboration. We want to include your voices and traditions at every level of this partnership. The alien paused, its expression softening slightly. Then let us ensure that our perspectives are represented in future events. We must be active participants, not just observers. Absolutely, Lena replied, feeling the weight of their words. Let's work together to plan the next festival. Your input will be invaluable. As the festival continued, Lena felt a sense of hope blossoming. While there were still challenges to face, she knew that open dialogue and collaboration could mend the rifts that had formed. As weeks turned into months, the festivals became a cornerstone of their partnership. each event growing more successful and vibrant. Lena felt a sense of fulfillment as she watched both communities engage with one another, learning from shared experiences and celebrating their unique identities. But beneath the surface, tensions still simmered. Rumblings of discontent from certain factions persisted, and Lena knew they couldn't afford to ignore those voices any longer. One evening, as she prepared for a meeting with the Cultural Advisory Council, she received a troubling message. There are reports of anti-collaboration protests forming. Some in our community feel we're losing our identity. Lena felt a knot form in her stomach. We need to address this immediately. When they convened for the meeting, the mood was tense. Council members from both sides exchanged worried glances, their expressions a mixture of concern and frustration. Making process. The atmosphere in the council meeting was thick with unease, a stark contrast to the vibrant energy of the recent festivals. Lena looked around the room, taking in the faces of both humans and aliens, each reflecting a mix of anxiety and determination. The protests had caught them off guard, and it was clear that the rifts they thought were healing were deeper than they realized. "Thank you all for gathering on such short notice," Lena began, her voice steady despite the turmoil swirling in her mind. "We need to confront the concerns arising in our communities. It's vital that we address the protests and the fears surrounding our collaboration." Mills nodded in agreement. "We cannot let dissent grow unchecked. It's crucial to listen to these voices and find a way to engage with them directly." The lead alien, whose vibrant scales shimmered with tension, spoke up. "Our people feel that their culture is being compromised. Many do not see this partnership as a benefit, but as a threat. We need to reassure them that their identity will remain intact." Lena took a deep breath, knowing this was a critical moment. "I propose we hold a series of town hall meetings. We can create a safe space for everyone to express their concerns, ask questions, and discuss how we can work together moving forward." A human council member raised a hand. "But how do we ensure that these meetings are productive? We don't want them to devolve into shouting matches." "Let's establish clear guidelines for participation," Mills suggested. "We can have moderators from both communities to facilitate the discussions and ensure that everyone has a chance to speak." Another alien, younger and more optimistic, chimed in. "What if we included interactive components? We could use art, music, and storytelling to engage people emotionally. If we can show them the beauty in our cultures, maybe we can alleviate some fears." Lena felt a surge of hope. "That's a fantastic idea. We can create an agenda that balances structured dialogue with opportunities for creative expression. It will help us reconnect on a personal level." As the council members brainstormed ideas, Lena's mind raced with possibilities. This was a pivotal moment, a chance to mend the fractures that threatened their partnership. Over the next few weeks, the town hall meetings were organized. The first was held in a large open space near the river, a symbolic setting for their discussions. Banners adorned with vibrant art from both cultures fluttered in the breeze, a reminder of their shared commitment to collaboration. On the day of the meeting, Lena arrived early to set up. She could feel the tension in the air as community members began to gather. Some faces were filled with excitement, while others wore expressions of skepticism. Lena knew that today's discussions would be pivotal. As the meeting commenced, she stood at the front, flanked by Mills and the lead alien. "Thank you all for coming. We understand that many of you have concerns about our partnership, and we're here to listen and engage. This is a space for dialogue, not debate." A human in the audience raised a hand. "What specific changes have you made to address our concerns? Many of us still feel sidelined." Lena nodded, acknowledging the valid point. "We've initiated more inclusive programs and festivals to celebrate both cultures. We want to integrate traditional practices and perspectives into our restoration efforts, but we need your input to ensure these changes resonate with everyone." The lead alien stepped forward. "Our traditions hold great significance. We are willing to share, but we need to see genuine respect for our ways. It cannot just be a surface-level integration. The audience murmured in agreement. Lena could feel the weight of their expectations. That's why we want to create joint committees to oversee these initiatives. Your voices will guide our actions moving forward. As discussions unfolded, a young alien stood up. What about our stories? They are often ignored in the grand narratives. How can we ensure they are told? Lena felt a wave of emotion. We can organize storytelling nights where community members from both cultures share their experiences. These stories are vital for building understanding and empathy. A human added, and we need to document these stories, create a community archive that honors both our histories. It could be a resource for future generations. Encouraged by the engagement, Lena felt the atmosphere shift slightly. Ideas were flowing, and the dialogue felt more like a collaboration than a confrontation. As the weeks progressed, the town hall meetings continued, each one becoming a space for genuine exchange. Community members began to share their stories, tales of resilience, love, loss, and hope. The powerful narratives helped bridge the gaps that had once seemed insurmountable. Lena felt invigorated as she watched the change unfold. Each meeting was filled with laughter, tears, and moments of deep connection. The blending of cultures was becoming tangible, and for the first time, it felt like they were moving towards a shared future. During one particularly impactful meeting, a human woman shared her family's history of environmental stewardship, detailing how generations had cared for the land and water. In response, an alien elder spoke about their ancestral practices of honoring the river's spirit, emphasizing the importance of reciprocity with nature. Lena listened intently, her heart swelling with pride. These stories reflect our shared commitment to the environment. Together, we can create a future that honors both our cultures and the river we cherish. After the meeting, Lena noticed a group of dissenters lingering near the entrance, their expressions still guarded. Determined to reach out, she approached them. I appreciate you all being here. Your voices are crucial in shaping our path forward. The lead dissenting alien crossed its arms, skepticism evident in its posture. You speak of collaboration, but many still feel that our culture is being marginalized. How can we trust that this is not just a show? Lena met their gaze with sincerity. I understand your fears. We're committed to making meaningful changes, but we can't do it without your input. We need you to help guide us. The alien considered her words, and after a moment, it nodded slowly. We want to see our stories told, our traditions honored. If you can prove that, perhaps we can find common ground. With that, Lena felt a flicker of hope ignite. Let's work together to ensure that happens. We can organize a cultural showcase where we highlight both our stories and traditions. As they spoke, Lena felt the weight of the alien's skepticism begin to lift. She knew it would take time, but the willingness to engage was a significant step forward. As the cultural showcase approached, excitement buzzed throughout the community. The preparations involved both humans and aliens working side by side, each contributing their unique talents. Lena reveled in the collaborative spirit that had blossomed from their shared efforts. The night of the showcase arrived, and the venue was transformed into a celebration of both cultures. Stalls were adorned with art and crafts, showcasing the creativity of both communities. The air was filled with the enticing aromas of traditional dishes, and Lena felt her heart swell with pride. As the event commenced, Lena took to the stage, her voice filled with enthusiasm. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we celebrate the richness of our cultures and the bonds we are forging together. This is a testament to what we can achieve when we embrace our differences and work in harmony. As the showcase unfolded, community members shared stories through performances, music, and visual art. Lena watched in awe as a group of children from both communities collaborated on a dance that wove together elements from both cultures, their laughter ringing out as they moved in sync. In that moment, Lena felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This was what collaboration looked like, a harmonious blend of traditions and ideas that enriched everyone involved. As the evening drew to a close, Lena spotted the lead dissenting alien in the crowd, its expression transformed from skepticism to genuine appreciation. Encouraged, she approached it. What do you think? The alien's scales shimmered under the dim lights. I did not expect to feel so moved tonight. Perhaps there is hope for us after all. Lena smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. This is just the beginning. Together, we can continue to build a future that honors both our cultures. Despite the success of the showcase, Lena was acutely aware that the journey was far from over. As winter approached, she sensed the need for sustained efforts to maintain the momentum they had built. The foundation was strong, but they needed to continue nurturing the relationships they had forged. In the weeks that followed, Lena and Mills worked on creating a long-term plan for collaboration. They focused on establishing permanent joint committees that would oversee cultural exchanges, environmental monitoring, and community engagement. One afternoon, while reviewing the proposals, Lena received an unexpected visit from the lead alien. Its scales glimmered in the sunlight as it approached, a sense of purpose evident in its demeanor. "We need to talk," it said, its voice firm but not unkind. "While we have made progress, there are still many in our community who feel uneasy. We cannot ignore their fears." Lena nodded, appreciating the gravity of the situation. "I agree. It's crucial that we continue to engage with those who feel marginalized. What do you propose?" "We should establish a dedicated outreach team," the alien suggested. "This team can focus on connecting with those who remain skeptical, ensuring they feel heard and valued." "That's a great idea," Mills chimed in, joining the conversation. "We need to actively seek out those voices, not just wait for them to come to us." Lena felt a surge of determination. "Let's create a plan for this outreach team. We can train volunteers from both communities to facilitate conversations and address concerns directly." As they began drafting the proposal, Lena felt a sense of hope. Lena stood at the front, her heart racing with excitement. "Thank you all for being here. Today marks a crucial step in our journey toward a genuine partnership. Our goal is to create a welcoming environment for those who still feel uneasy about our collaboration." A human named Sarah, known for her strong communication skills, raised her hand. "We should prioritize building trust. Let's make sure to create safe spaces where individuals can express their concerns without judgment." The lead alien, Kale, nodded. "And we should be transparent about our actions. If we want to earn trust, we need to show that we're actively listening and adapting based on feedback." Lena smiled, energized by their commitment. "Absolutely. We can set up regular check-ins with community members. These meetings will serve as a platform to share updates, gather input, and address any concerns that arise." As the team brainstormed ideas, Lena could see the spark of hope igniting within them. They began discussing outreach strategies, from door-to-door visits to organizing community events that invited dialogue. The enthusiasm was contagious, and Lena felt confident that they were on the right path. The first outreach event was held in the heart of the community, a casual gathering meant to encourage open dialogue. Banners decorated the space, showcasing artwork from both cultures, and the air was filled with the enticing aroma of food from a mix of traditional cuisines. As the event kicked off, Lena took a moment to observe the crowd. Humans and aliens mingled, laughter mingling with conversation. She felt a swell of pride at how far they had come. But she also knew that beneath the surface, lingering concerns remained. As she moved through the crowd, she approached a small group of dissenters huddled together, their expressions wary. "Hi there, I'm glad you're here. What do you think of the event so far?" One of the dissenters, a young alien named Talia, crossed her arms defensively. "It's nice, but many of us still feel our traditions are being overshadowed. We don't see enough representation in the initiatives." Lena nodded, sensing the urgency behind Talia's words. "I hear you. We're committed to ensuring your voices are included in all aspects of our collaboration. Can you share specific areas where you feel we could improve?" Talia hesitated, then spoke with conviction. "We want to see more of our cultural practices integrated into the environmental restoration projects. It can't just be an add-on, It needs to be central to our efforts. Thank you for sharing that, Lena replied earnestly. That's a valid point, and I'll make sure it's addressed in our upcoming planning sessions. Your insights are essential to our progress. As Talia nodded, Lena felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps this outreach could bridge the divide. As the outreach team continued their efforts, they organized smaller community meetings, focusing on specific neighborhoods. They invited members from both cultures, creating spaces for discussions around cultural practices, environmental stewardship, and shared visions for the future. One evening, during a particularly intimate meeting, Lena facilitated a conversation centered around the importance of storytelling. Sharing our narratives can foster understanding. Can anyone share a story that highlights your relationship with the land or the river? An older human named Thomas spoke up, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. My family has lived here for generations. I remember my grandmother telling me how she used to fish in the river, always ensuring that she respected the water and its creatures. That respect is something I've tried to pass down. As he shared, Lena noticed the connection forming among the attendees. An alien named Nera, known for her artistry, responded. In our culture, we tell stories of the river's spirit. We believe it guides us, and when we fish, we offer thanks to that spirit. Lena felt the energy shift in the room. These stories are vital. They reveal our shared values and beliefs. If we can document these narratives, we can create a resource that honors both our histories. The group buzzed with enthusiasm, and Lena felt a renewed sense of purpose. They began brainstorming ways to collect and share these stories through a community archive, a digital platform, and even a printed anthology. As the outreach efforts progressed, Lena remained vigilant. Despite the positive momentum, she was aware that not everyone was on board with the partnership. Rumors of a larger protest began to circulate, and Lena knew they had to confront it head-on. In a meeting with the outreach team, Lena addressed their concerns. I've heard whispers of a significant protest forming. We can't ignore this. We need to take proactive steps to address the fears and frustrations of those who feel left out. Cale spoke up, his scales darkening with concern. It's essential that we reach out to those planning to protest. Ignoring their grievances will only escalate tensions. Agreed, Mills added. We should invite them to a roundtable discussion, offering them a platform to voice their concerns directly. We can't afford to let this divide grow. Lena nodded, feeling the weight of their words. Let's draft an invitation for the roundtable. We need to show that we're committed to listening, even to those who disagree with us. The day of the roundtable arrived, and Lena felt a mixture of anxiety and determination. She hoped that their efforts would help ease the tensions that had been building. The meeting was held in a neutral space, chosen specifically to foster a sense of safety for all participants. As attendees filed in, Lena recognized several dissenters from the earlier protests, their expressions a blend of skepticism and curiosity. She greeted them warmly, hoping to put them at ease. Thank you all for being here, Lena began as the meeting commenced. We recognize that there are concerns surrounding our partnership, and we want to provide a space where those concerns can be voiced and addressed. One of the lead dissenters, a tall alien named Eris, stood up. We appreciate the invitation, but we are skeptical of your intentions. Many feel that this partnership is erasing our culture. How can we trust that you will honor our traditions? Lena met Eris's gaze, feeling the weight of the question. I understand your skepticism. It's valid, and we are committed to proving that we value your culture. We want to learn from you, not overshadow you. What specific actions would help rebuild your trust? Eris paused, considering the question. We need more transparency. If you are genuinely committed, we want to see concrete actions that reflect your intentions. Our traditions cannot be an afterthought. Lena nodded earnestly. That's fair. We can establish regular updates about our projects, including how we're integrating your cultural practices. We want to create a feedback loop that allows us to adapt based on your input. The conversation continued, and Lena felt the tension in the room begin to shift. Participants voiced their concerns, but they also offered ideas for moving forward. It became clear that, while mistrust lingered, there was a willingness to engage. As the meeting wrapped up, Lena felt a sense of cautious optimism. The dissenters had agreed to collaborate on a cultural integration plan, a tangible step toward rebuilding trust. In the weeks that followed, the outreach team worked tirelessly to implement the ideas discussed at the round table. They organized workshops that focused on cultural practices, inviting elders from both communities to share their knowledge and wisdom. One evening, during a workshop on traditional ecological practices, Lena listened intently as a group of alien elders spoke about their methods of land stewardship. Their deep connection to the environment resonated with the human participants, sparking a lively discussion. One human attendee, a young man named David, raised his hand. "How can we incorporate these practices into our restoration projects? I believe we can blend our approaches for better results." An elder named Taurus nodded approvingly. "Collaboration is key. By honoring both our traditions, we can create a more sustainable approach. This is the way forward." Lena felt invigorated by the exchange. They were actively co-creating solutions that honored both cultures, and she could sense a shift in attitudes among the participants. The outreach efforts were beginning to bear fruit, creating an environment where both communities could thrive. As the weeks turned into months, Lena and her team documented the stories and practices shared during the workshops. They compiled a digital archive, a living resource that showcased the vibrant tapestry of both cultures and their shared commitment to the environment. However, as winter settled in, Lena received an unexpected message that threatened to derail their progress. "We have credible information about an impending protest. Dissenting factions are planning a demonstration to voice their opposition to the partnership." Lena's heart raced as she read the message. They had worked so hard to build bridges, and the thought of a protest unraveling their progress was disheartening. Determined to address the situation, she gathered the outreach team for an emergency meeting. "This protest could be a pivotal moment for us," she began, her voice steady. "We need to confront the dissent head-on and show that we are committed to understanding their concerns." Mills nodded. "If we can engage with the organizers directly, perhaps we can diffuse the situation. We should invite them to a discussion before the protest happens." Cale agreed, his scales reflecting a mix of worry and determination. "We cannot allow the situation to escalate. We must show our willingness to listen and adapt." Lena felt a surge of resolve. The urgency in the air was palpable as Lena and her outreach team prepared to confront the looming protest. They had spent weeks fostering dialogue, and now they faced a challenge that could undo much of their hard work. In the days leading up to the protest, they worked diligently to reach out to the organizers, hoping to secure a meeting that could prevent escalation. Lena felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety as she composed the invitation to the protest leaders. She wanted to be clear and open, emphasizing their commitment to dialogue. "We believe it's essential to hear your concerns and work together to address them. Let's come together to discuss how we can move forward as a community," she wrote, sending it out with a flicker of hope. A few days later, they received a response. The organizers were willing to meet, but only under the condition that it be a public forum. They wanted transparency, and Lena understood their need for accountability. The venue was set for the day before the protest, a community center that had previously hosted their outreach events. As Lena prepared her notes, she felt a knot in her stomach. This meeting could set the tone for the future, and she was determined to approach it with both empathy and courage. On the day of the meeting, the atmosphere was charged with tension. The community center buzzed with anticipation as participants filled the room. Lena stood at the front, flanked by Mills and Cale, all three aware of the weight of the moment. "Thank you all for coming," Lena began, her voice steady but warm. "We're here today because we genuinely want to understand your concerns. We believe in the importance of collaboration and dialogue, and we're committed to addressing the issues that have been raised." A tall human with a determined expression stood up. "We appreciate that, But many of us feel that your partnership is erasing our traditions and culture. How can we trust that you will prioritize our voices moving forward? Lena nodded, recognizing the gravity of the question. Your concerns are valid, and we want to ensure that your traditions are not only acknowledged but celebrated. We propose creating a cultural committee made up of representatives from both communities to oversee integration efforts. What do you think? There was a murmur among the crowd, a mix of skepticism and contemplation. Cale took a step forward, his scales shimmering under the lights. We understand that trust is built through actions, not just words. We are committed to honoring your culture in our initiatives, but we need your guidance to do so. Another protest organizer, an alien named Elise, spoke up. We've seen too many promises broken. Concrete action speaks louder than intentions. What specific measures can we expect to see? Lena felt a rush of determination. We are currently documenting stories and practices from both cultures, and we will share regular updates on our initiatives. Furthermore, we will set up monthly community forums to allow ongoing dialogue and feedback. Our commitment to transparency is essential to our collaboration. A human woman in the audience raised her hand. We need to see tangible changes in environmental policies, too. Our land is being affected, and we want to ensure our traditional practices are respected. Lena nodded vigorously. We hear you. We can incorporate your traditional ecological knowledge into our environmental restoration projects. By merging our approaches, we can create a more sustainable future for everyone. The discussion continued, with voices from both sides sharing ideas and concerns. As the meeting unfolded, Lena sensed a shift. Although skepticism lingered, there was a willingness to engage that hadn't been present before. As the meeting concluded, Lena felt a mix of relief and hope. While not every concern had been resolved, they had opened a channel for communication that could lead to meaningful change. The protest, she hoped, would now serve as a platform for further dialogue rather than a confrontation. In the following days, the protest unfolded as planned, but rather than a scene of chaos, it transformed into a gathering that included voices from both communities. Lena stood on the sideline, watching as the initial tension gave way to something unexpected, a collaborative spirit. Participants held signs advocating for cultural respect and environmental stewardship, blending their messages into a unified call for action. Lena felt a rush of gratitude as she observed the change. They were not just protesting but advocating for partnership. During a pivotal moment in the protest, the leaders of the dissenting factions stepped forward to speak. Lena recognized Eris, the tall alien who had been one of the most vocal critics of the partnership. As he addressed the crowd, Lena felt a sense of anticipation. Today, we stand here not just to express our grievances, but to demand respect for our culture and traditions. We are willing to work with our human counterparts, but we need to see real commitment, Eris proclaimed, his voice echoing through the crowd. Lena felt a sense of solidarity as cheers erupted from both humans and aliens. This was a defining moment, a chance to unite rather than divide. In the aftermath of the protest, Lena felt a renewed sense of purpose. The conversations sparked during the event had opened new avenues for collaboration. She gathered her team to discuss next steps, excited about the potential ahead. Let's capitalize on the momentum we've built, she suggested during the meeting. We should organize a series of workshops focused on cultural exchange and environmental practices. This could help solidify our commitment to one another. Mills nodded enthusiastically. Absolutely. We can invite community leaders from both sides to facilitate these workshops. Their expertise will be invaluable in bridging the gap. Cale interjected, his tone serious but hopeful. We need to ensure that the narratives we share are authentic and represent both cultures accurately. This will require collaboration and respect. Lena felt energized by their ideas. Let's start planning these workshops. We can incorporate storytelling, traditional practices, and ecological methods to create a holistic approach to our partnership. As the team began brainstorming, Lena felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They were actively shaping a future that honored both cultures, and the ripple effects of their efforts were becoming increasingly apparent. As the workshops began, Lena observed the powerful impact they had on the community. Participants shared stories, traditional practices, and strategies for environmental stewardship, creating a rich tapestry of knowledge and understanding. One evening, during a storytelling workshop, Lena watched as a group of alien elders shared tales of their ancestral connections to the land. Their voices wove a narrative that captured the audience's attention, illustrating the deep bond between their culture and the environment. As the session concluded, a human named Mia spoke up, her voice filled with emotion. "Hearing your stories has changed my perspective. I didn't realize how interconnected our cultures are when it comes to respecting the land." An alien elder, Taurus, smiled warmly. "We share more than we realize. Our stories carry wisdom that can guide us as we navigate this partnership." Lena felt a wave of hope wash over her. These workshops were not just about exchanging knowledge. They were healing wounds and fostering understanding. As winter deepened, the outreach team continued their efforts, and Lena saw more individuals from both communities stepping forward to participate. They created a vibrant schedule of events that included art exhibitions, cooking classes, and environmental restoration activities, all designed to blend their traditions. During one of the cooking classes, Lena watched as a group of humans and aliens worked together to prepare traditional dishes from both cultures. Laughter filled the kitchen as they swapped recipes, sharing not just food but also cultural heritage. "This is fantastic," a human named Alex exclaimed as they chopped vegetables alongside an alien named Lyra. "I never thought cooking could be such a collaborative experience." Lyra nodded, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Food is a way to bring us together. It tells our stories, and sharing meals creates bonds." As the class concluded, they sat down to enjoy the meal they had prepared together. Lena felt a warmth in her heart as she watched people from both cultures sharing stories over the table, united by their love for food and connection. However, Lena remained acutely aware that their journey was far from complete. Despite the progress they had made, tensions still simmered beneath the surface. She was determined to address any lingering grievances head-on. One day, while reviewing feedback from the workshops, Lena received an anonymous note. "Your efforts are appreciated, but there are still concerns about the representation of our culture. We want to ensure our voices are included at every level." Lena felt a knot form in her stomach. It was a reminder that skepticism still lingered. Determined to confront the issue, she called a meeting with the outreach team to discuss how they could better address these concerns. "Transparency is key," Lena began, her voice steady. "We need to actively seek out feedback and ensure that every voice is represented in our initiatives." "How can we make this happen?" Mills suggested. "We could hold focus groups with community members to gather insights on specific initiatives. By creating smaller, more intimate spaces for dialogue, we can ensure everyone feels heard." Kale added, "It's essential to have representatives from both communities on every committee. This will provide a platform for all voices to be included in decision-making processes." Lena felt a surge of determination. "Let's implement focus groups and ensure diverse representation in our committees. We'll create an open invitation for anyone who wants to share their perspective." As the focus groups began, Lena felt a renewed sense of hope. The intimate settings allowed for open dialogue, and participants shared their thoughts and concerns candidly. Many expressed gratitude for the opportunity to voice their feelings. During one session, an alien named Jorah spoke up. "I appreciate that you're trying to include us, but there are still moments when our culture feels sidelined. We need to see our traditions respected in real time." As winter deepened, the outreach team found themselves at a critical juncture. The focus groups had unveiled a wealth of perspectives, each one contributing to a growing understanding of the complexities surrounding their partnership. Yet, Lena felt an undercurrent of urgency. They had to translate these insights into actionable change. In a meeting with her team, She emphasized the importance of turning feedback into tangible initiatives. We need to ensure that we're not just hearing these concerns, but actively addressing them. Let's compile a list of specific actions we can take based on what we've learned. Mills tapped his pen against his notebook. One consistent theme has been the need for cultural representation in our projects. We should create a cultural advisory board made up of members from both communities. Cale nodded, his expression thoughtful. And this board should have a say in every aspect of our initiatives, from environmental restoration to community events. Their input will ensure our actions reflect the values and traditions of both cultures. Lena felt a surge of enthusiasm. That's a fantastic idea. Let's draft a proposal for the Cultural Advisory Board and invite individuals from both communities to join. We'll emphasize that their role is crucial to our partnership. The team worked diligently over the next few days, drafting the proposal and reaching out to potential board members. They organized an informational meeting to explain the purpose and responsibilities of the board, hoping to attract a diverse group. On the day of the meeting, Lena stood at the front of the community center, her heart pounding with anticipation. She was eager to share their vision for the Cultural Advisory Board and to gauge the community's response. "Thank you all for being here," Lena began, her voice steady. "Today, we're introducing a new initiative aimed at ensuring that both of our cultures are represented in our projects. The Cultural Advisory Board will be a space for dialogue, input, and guidance." As she spoke, she noticed the mix of expressions in the audience, some curious, others skeptical. "We want to create an inclusive environment where all voices are heard. Your participation will be essential to our success." After her presentation, several hands shot up. An alien named Kira stood up, her brow furrowed. "What specific power will this board have? How can we trust that our voices will be genuinely considered?" Lena took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the question. "That's an important concern, Kira. The board will have decision-making authority over cultural integration in our projects. We want to ensure that your perspectives shape our initiatives, not just serve as an afterthought." Mills added, "We're also committed to regular updates and open forums where board members can report back to the community. Transparency will be key." The room buzzed with conversation as people discussed the proposal among themselves. Lena watched, hopeful that this would be a turning point in building trust. In the following weeks, the Cultural Advisory Board began to take shape. Members from both communities joined, bringing a diverse array of experiences and perspectives. Lena felt a renewed sense of optimism as she watched the board come together, eager to foster collaboration. During their first meeting, Lena laid out the agenda. "We need to prioritize our initiatives. What areas should we focus on to ensure that cultural representation is integrated into our projects?" An elder human named Margaret spoke up. "Environmental restoration is crucial, but we also need to focus on educational outreach. Teaching our children about both cultures will be essential for fostering understanding." Kira nodded in agreement. "And let's not forget about traditional practices. We should host workshops that allow us to share our cultural knowledge, ensuring it's passed down." Lena felt energized by their ideas. "Great points. Let's create a schedule for workshops and educational programs. We can work together to develop materials that reflect both cultures' values." As they brainstormed, the energy in the room shifted. Ideas flowed freely, and the sense of collaboration grew stronger. They were no longer just representatives of their respective cultures. They were allies committed to mutual respect and understanding. As spring approached, the Cultural Advisory Board launched its first initiative, a series of workshops aimed at educating the community about both cultures' histories and traditions. The events were designed to foster understanding and appreciation, and they garnered a great deal of interest. On the day of the first workshop, Lena arrived early to set up. The room was filled with colorful banners showcasing artwork from both communities, and the air buzzed with anticipation. She felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was a crucial moment in their journey. As participants filtered in, Lena welcomed them with a warm smile. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to share our cultures and learn from one another. The workshop began with storytelling, where members of both communities shared tales that highlighted their respective histories and values. Lena felt a sense of wonder as the stories unfolded, each one rich with meaning and tradition. During a break, a human named Jake approached Lena. "This is incredible. I had no idea how intertwined our cultures were. It's making me rethink everything I thought I knew." Lena smiled, heartened by his words. That's exactly what we hope to achieve, an understanding that leads to collaboration and respect. As the workshop continued, participants engaged in hands-on activities that showcased traditional crafts, cooking, and environmental practices. Lena marveled at how the room transformed into a vibrant space of creativity and connection. In the following weeks, the workshops continued to thrive, drawing larger crowds and fostering deeper connections between the communities. Lena felt a sense of pride as she witnessed the impact of their efforts. People were actively engaging, sharing, and learning from one another. However, she remained mindful that challenges still lay ahead. While many embraced the initiatives, there were pockets of resistance that lingered. Lena knew they had to address these concerns to maintain momentum. One afternoon, as she reviewed feedback from the workshops, Lena received another anonymous note. "While these workshops are great, some feel they're just a way to placate us. We need action beyond words." Lena's heart sank. She understood the sentiment all too well. The community's mistrust was rooted in a history of broken promises. Determined to confront the issue, she called a meeting with the Cultural Advisory Board to discuss their next steps. "Today, I want us to focus on action," Lena began, her voice resolute. "We've made progress with the workshops, but we need to show the community that we're committed to tangible change. What can we do to demonstrate that our partnership is more than just talk?" Kira spoke up, her expression thoughtful. "We could organize a joint project that highlights our commitment to environmental stewardship. If we collaborate on a restoration project, it would show our dedication to working together." Margaret chimed in. "Let's involve the youth. Engaging younger generations in these initiatives will help solidify our partnership for the future." Lena felt a rush of determination. "That's an excellent idea. Let's plan a community restoration project that includes participants from both cultures. We can document the process, highlighting our collaboration every step of the way." The board members nodded in agreement, their excitement palpable. They began brainstorming the details of the project, identifying areas in the community that could benefit from restoration efforts. As spring blossomed into summer, the joint restoration project kicked off with great enthusiasm. Volunteers from both communities came together to clear debris, plant native species, and restore habitats. Lena felt invigorated by the energy surrounding the initiative. On the first day of the project, Lena arrived at the site early to help set up. She watched as individuals from both cultures gathered, exchanging stories and laughter while working side by side. It was a beautiful sight, one that reinforced her belief in the power of collaboration. As the work progressed, Lena moved among the groups, offering support and encouragement. She noticed a human named Carla teaching a group of children how to plant seeds, while an alien named Verk shared insights about the native flora. It was a perfect example of the integration they had aimed for. At one point, Lena approached a small group that included Kira and Margaret. "How's it going over here?" she asked, smiling. Kira wiped her brow and grinned. "It's going great. The kids are eager to learn, and they're asking so many questions about our traditions." Margaret nodded, her eyes sparkling. "This is exactly what we envisioned, a merging of knowledge and culture that empowers our youth." Lena felt a swell of pride. "We're not just restoring the land, we're cultivating a new relationship between our communities." As the project continued, word spread throughout the community. The collaborative efforts began to shift perceptions, and more individuals from both cultures expressed interest in participating. Lena felt a sense of optimism as she watched the community come together, united by a common purpose. However, not everyone was on board. A group of dissenters, who had been vocal in their opposition to the partnership from the beginning, began to rally against the restoration project. Lena received reports of their growing frustration, and she knew they had to address it before tensions escalated. During a meeting with the Cultural Advisory Board, Lena laid out her concerns. "We're seeing increased dissent regarding the restoration project. I believe we need to reach out to those who are opposed to our efforts and invite them to discuss their concerns directly." Kira leaned forward, her expression serious. "I agree. We can't ignore their voices. If we want to move forward, we need to create a space for dialogue." Mills added, "We should hold a public forum specifically to address their concerns. This could help bridge the gap and demonstrate our commitment to transparency." The day of the public forum arrived with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. Lena stood at the entrance of the community center, watching as attendees trickled in. The atmosphere was charged, and she could sense the tension simmering beneath the surface. This meeting could either solidify their progress or unravel it entirely. Inside, the room was set up in a circle, with chairs arranged to encourage open dialogue. Lena and the Cultural Advisory Board members had decided to create a welcoming environment where everyone could express their thoughts freely. She hoped this approach would foster understanding, but doubts lingered in the back of her mind. As the meeting began, Lena took a deep breath and welcomed everyone. "Thank you all for coming today. We're here to listen and to engage in a constructive dialogue about the restoration project and any concerns you may have. Your voices are important to us." The room was filled with faces, some familiar, some not. A tall human named Greg stood up first, his brow furrowed with frustration. "I appreciate the initiative, but I still don't see how this benefits our community. What's in it for us?" Lena nodded, acknowledging his concern. "That's a fair question, Greg. Our goal is to restore the land, but we also want to ensure that the practices and traditions of both communities are respected and included. We believe that a healthy environment benefits us all." Before she could elaborate further, a voice interjected from the back of the room. "But you're still sidelining our culture. How can we trust that you won't erase our history in the process?" The speaker was Eris, the tall alien who had been one of the most vocal critics of the partnership. Lena felt her heart race. She understood the weight of his words. They encapsulated the lingering mistrust that many felt. "Eris, thank you for sharing your perspective," she said, her tone calm yet earnest. "It's essential that we address these concerns head-on. We're committed to honoring both cultures and ensuring that our initiatives reflect that." A murmur spread through the crowd, some nodding in agreement, while others exchanged skeptical glances. Lena sensed that the meeting could tip in either direction, and she had to tread carefully. "Let's take a moment to hear from everyone," she suggested. "Who else has concerns or questions about the restoration project?" A young woman named Mia raised her hand, her voice trembling slightly. "I'm worried that while we're focused on restoring the land, we might overlook the people who are directly affected by these changes. What about the families living nearby? How will they be involved?" Lena felt a rush of gratitude for Mia's question. That's an important point. Community involvement is crucial to the project's success. We want to engage with everyone, especially those who live in close proximity to the restoration areas. Your input is vital to shaping the project. As the discussion continued, more individuals from both communities spoke up, expressing a variety of perspectives. Some raised concerns about the pace of change, while others emphasized the need for more inclusive planning. The dialogue became a back-and-forth exchange of ideas and frustrations. Lena felt a wave of relief as people began to voice their thoughts. It was clear that the community was eager to engage, even if some were hesitant about the partnership. Halfway through the forum, Cale stood up, his voice commanding yet empathetic. "I want to assure you all that we are here to learn. We are not perfect, and we will make mistakes. But we genuinely want to work together to ensure that our actions reflect the values of both cultures." A woman named Jara spoke up. "That sounds good, but we need accountability. What will happen if our concerns aren't addressed? Lena nodded thoughtfully. We propose to create a feedback mechanism where community members can voice their concerns at any time. We'll hold regular meetings to discuss progress and gather input. Transparency is key. As the forum progressed, Lena noticed a shift. While skepticism still lingered, there was a growing sense of willingness to engage in dialogue. Participants began to suggest specific ideas for the restoration project, demonstrating a commitment to collaboration. One man, an elder named Tomas, suggested a cultural planting day. Let's have a day where we all come together to plant native species, but also incorporate plants that are significant to both cultures. This way, we're not just restoring the land, we're creating a shared legacy. The room erupted with enthusiasm as people began brainstorming ways to make the event inclusive and celebratory. Lena felt a wave of hope wash over her. This was the kind of collaboration they had been striving for. As the forum wrapped up, Lena felt a sense of accomplishment. They had opened the door to genuine dialogue and, more importantly, had established a foundation for future collaboration. She thanked everyone for their participation, reminding them that their voices would continue to shape their journey together. After the meeting, Lena gathered with her team to reflect. Today was a success. We didn't solve all the issues, but we created a space for dialogue and established a plan for accountability moving forward. Mills nodded. I think the Cultural Planting Day will be a significant step in solidifying our partnership. It'll demonstrate our commitment to collaboration and respect. Kale added, we need to ensure that the event is well publicized. We want to invite everyone, especially those who were skeptical. This is an opportunity to show that we can work together. In the weeks that followed, excitement grew in the community for the upcoming Cultural Planting Day. Lena worked closely with the Cultural Advisory Board to plan the event, ensuring that it reflected the values and traditions of both cultures. They created posters, invited local leaders, and organized activities that would engage participants of all ages. As the day approached, Lena felt a mix of nerves and excitement. They had invested so much time and energy into this event, and she hoped it would truly demonstrate the partnership they had been building. On the day of the event, the sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the community center's grounds. Lena arrived early to set up, watching as volunteers from both cultures began to gather. She felt a wave of gratitude as she saw familiar faces, all coming together with a shared purpose. The event began with a welcome ceremony, where Lena and the Cultural Advisory Board members spoke about the importance of the partnership and the role of the restoration project in fostering understanding. Today, we're not just planting seeds in the ground, we're planting seeds of collaboration, respect, and friendship between our cultures, Lena said, her heart swelling with pride. After the speeches, participants broke into smaller groups to begin planting. Lena moved among the groups, assisting where she could and taking time to listen to the conversations that unfolded. She felt a profound sense of connection as people shared stories, laughter, and hopes for the future. As the sun began to set, Lena joined a group of children planting flowers native to both cultures. A young boy named Alex turned to her with wide eyes. "Will these flowers grow big and pretty?" he asked, his innocence shining through. Lena smiled, kneeling beside him. "Yes, Alex, these flowers will grow and thrive, just like our partnership. Together, we can create something beautiful." The day concluded with a communal meal, featuring dishes from both cultures. Lena marveled at the sight of people sharing food, stories, and laughter, realizing that the event had achieved its goal of fostering connection and collaboration. As the weeks passed, the impact of the Cultural Planting Day became evident. People from both communities expressed renewed enthusiasm for the partnership, and Lena received positive feedback from participants eager to continue the collaborative efforts. However, she also knew that challenges would continue to arise. One evening, as she reviewed feedback from the event, she received a note that struck a chord. "We appreciate the efforts being made, but we need more than just events. We want to see real changes in policy and decision-making." Lena felt the weight of the words. While the community had embraced the cultural initiatives, there remained a pressing need for tangible change. She gathered her team to discuss the feedback. "We need to create actionable steps that demonstrate our commitment to change," she said. "Let's revisit our environmental policies and identify areas where we can integrate traditional practices." Mills suggested, "We should host a series of workshops focused on policy advocacy, inviting community members to share their ideas for changes they want to see. By empowering them to participate in decision-making, we can create a sense of ownership." Kale added, "We need to ensure that both cultures are represented in these discussions. If we want to create meaningful change, we have to involve everyone." Lena nodded, feeling the energy in the room. "Let's draft a proposal for these workshops and outline specific policies we can work towards. We need to be transparent about the process and invite input from all community members." In the following weeks, the workshops on policy advocacy began to take shape. Lena and her team created a schedule that included sessions focused on environmental practices, cultural representation, and community engagement. They aimed to empower individuals to voice their ideas and advocate for the changes they wanted to see. On the day of the first workshop, Lena felt a sense of excitement as participants arrived. She welcomed everyone and introduced the agenda, emphasizing the importance of their contributions in shaping the community's future. As the workshop progressed, participants engaged in brainstorming sessions, sharing ideas for policies that would honor both cultures and promote sustainable practices. Lena watched in awe as individuals from both communities collaborated, their shared passion evident in the discussions. One woman, a human named Sarah, suggested implementing a community garden that incorporates traditional practices from both cultures. "This could serve as a living example of our commitment to sustainability and collaboration," she proposed. The workshops on policy advocacy were gaining momentum, drawing a diverse crowd eager to share their ideas. Lena felt an electric energy in the room as participants exchanged thoughts and strategies for tangible change. She understood that this was more than just a series of meetings. It was an opportunity to transform their partnership into a lasting legacy. As the first workshop unfolded, Lena facilitated discussions, encouraging attendees to think creatively about how their cultural practices could inform community policies. The room buzzed with ideas, and she felt a surge of hope as the conversation deepened. "Let's focus on actionable steps," Lena urged, writing key points on a large whiteboard. "What specific policies can we propose that reflect our values and address the needs of both communities?" A human man named David spoke up, his voice steady. "We should advocate for stronger environmental protections. We need policies that prioritize sustainability and the preservation of our natural resources." Kira, representing the alien community, nodded in agreement. "And let's not forget the importance of integrating our cultural practices into these policies. For instance, using traditional ecological knowledge can inform better land management." Lena felt her heart race. "That's a great point, Kira. Traditional ecological knowledge has so much to offer. We can draft a proposal that emphasizes collaboration between our communities in environmental decision-making." The workshop continued, and ideas flowed freely. Participants discussed creating educational programs that taught children about the environmental significance of both cultures' practices, emphasizing the importance of passing down this knowledge to future generations. As the session wrapped up, Lena encouraged everyone to write down their proposed policies and share them with the broader community. "This is just the beginning," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "Together, we can make a real impact." In the weeks that followed, the workshops became a regular occurrence, each one building on the momentum of the last. Lena noticed a shift in the community. More individuals were engaging in discussions about policy and advocacy, feeling empowered to voice their opinions. However, as excitement grew, so did the pressure to deliver on their promises. The feedback from the workshops was overwhelming, and Lena and her team had to find a way to synthesize all the ideas into coherent proposals. One evening, as Lena reviewed notes from the workshops, she gathered her core team to strategize. We have a lot of great ideas, but we need to organize them into clear proposals that we can present to the community. Let's prioritize the most pressing issues first. Mills suggested, we should create working groups focused on specific topics, like environmental protection, cultural integration, and community education. Each group can develop proposals and report back to the larger team. Cale added, this way, we can ensure that everyone's ideas are considered, and it will give community members a chance to take ownership of the process. Lena felt a sense of urgency. Let's get these working groups established right away. We need to show the community that we're taking their ideas seriously and that we're committed to making changes. With the working groups in place, Lena felt a renewed sense of purpose. Each group was tasked with developing a set of actionable policies to present at the upcoming community meeting. As they met regularly, Lena was impressed by the collaboration and creativity that flourished. During one session, the Environmental Protection Group brainstormed ways to advocate for sustainable practices. Rian, a member of the alien community, proposed a policy that encouraged the use of renewable energy sources. We need to push for incentives for families and businesses to adopt solar or wind energy. It's essential for our future. Margaret, representing the human community, added, and we should also consider a community-wide recycling program that emphasizes the importance of reducing waste. We can include educational components to teach everyone how to participate. As discussions progressed, Lena noticed how the groups were not only focused on policies, but also on building relationships. They shared personal stories and insights that deepened their understanding of one another's cultures, which further strengthened their collaborative spirit. The day of the community meeting finally arrived, and Lena could feel the excitement in the air. She stood at the front of the community center, ready to share the proposals that emerged from the working groups. The room was filled with familiar faces, and she sensed a palpable anticipation. Thank you all for being here today, Lena began, her voice steady. Today, we'll share the proposals that have come from our working groups. These ideas reflect the hard work and dedication of community members from both cultures. As she presented each proposal, Lena watched the audience's reactions. The suggestions ranged from environmental initiatives to cultural integration strategies. The enthusiasm in the room was infectious, and she felt hopeful about the potential for real change. When she finished, the audience erupted in applause. Lena felt a rush of emotion. This was a significant step forward in their journey. She encouraged attendees to share their thoughts and provide feedback on the proposals. A woman named Elena stood up, her expression thoughtful. These proposals are fantastic. I appreciate the focus on sustainability. But I wonder how we can ensure that everyone understands their role in implementing these policies. Lena nodded, recognizing the importance of clarity. That's a great point, Elena. We'll need to develop a comprehensive communication plan to educate the community about these initiatives and encourage participation. As more voices chimed in, the discussion became a collaborative exploration of how to bring the proposals to life. Lena felt a surge of pride as she witnessed the community's commitment to working together. In the following weeks, the proposals began to take shape into actionable plans. Lena and her team focused on developing educational materials and communication strategies to ensure that community members understood their roles in the implementation process. During a working group session, Rian suggested organizing a series of informational workshops that would break down each proposal into manageable steps. We need to make it easy for people to understand how they can participate. If we simplify the process, more will engage. Cale agreed, adding and let's utilize social media and community events to spread the word. We can create visually engaging materials that highlight the benefits of each initiative. With a clear plan in place, Lena felt invigorated by the collective energy of the group. They designed a series of workshops that would educate the community on the new policies and encourage participation in the initiatives. As the workshops launched, Lena was amazed by the turnout. Community members from both cultures came together to learn about the proposals and discuss how they could get involved. The atmosphere was charged with enthusiasm, and Lena felt a renewed sense of purpose. During one workshop focused on environmental protection, Lena noticed that participants were eager to ask questions and engage in discussions. David facilitated a session on renewable energy, explaining how families could take advantage of incentives to install solar panels. Adopting renewable energy isn't just good for the environment. It can also save you money in the long run, he explained, gesturing to a presentation that showcased successful installations in the community. A participant raised her hand. What about those of us who can't afford the upfront costs? How can we access these resources? David paused, nodding thoughtfully. That's a crucial point. We're advocating for policies that include financial assistance for low-income families. We want to ensure that everyone has access to these benefits. Lena felt a wave of gratitude for the participants' engagement. The workshops were not only educating the community, but also allowing them to voice their concerns and suggestions. As summer rolled into full swing, Lena and her team continued to refine their initiatives. The momentum was palpable, and she felt hopeful that they were building a lasting partnership. However, the challenges of implementation began to surface, and Lena knew they had to navigate these carefully. During a meeting with the Cultural Advisory Board, Kale raised a concern. We've made great progress, but we need to address the potential backlash from those who still oppose our initiatives. It's crucial that we engage with them directly. Lena nodded, recognizing the importance of addressing dissent head-on. You're right. We should organize a community dialogue specifically aimed at those who are still skeptical. It's essential that we listen to their concerns and work towards understanding. Mills suggested, we could create a panel discussion format, allowing for open dialogue and questions. This way, we can foster a sense of community and transparency. Lena felt determined. Let's schedule that dialogue soon. We need to show that we're committed to collaboration, even with those who oppose us. The day of the community dialogue arrived, and Lena felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation. She stood at the front of the room, ready to facilitate a discussion that could either bridge gaps or deepen divides. As attendees filed in, she noticed a mix of familiar and unfamiliar faces, some of whom had been vocal critics of the partnership. Thank you all for joining us today, Lena began, her voice steady. We're here to listen and engage in an open dialogue about our initiatives and the concerns you may have. Your perspectives are vital to our progress. As the discussion unfolded, several participants voiced their skepticism, questioning the effectiveness of the proposed policies. Lena listened intently, acknowledging their concerns and encouraging open conversation. Eris, the tall alien critic, spoke passionately. While I appreciate the efforts being made, I still believe there's a disconnect between our cultures. Many feel that these initiatives are not representative of our needs. Lena felt the weight of his words. I understand your concerns, Eris. It's important for us to ensure that our initiatives genuinely reflect the values and traditions of both communities. How can we better incorporate your perspectives? As the dialogue continued, the atmosphere shifted. While skepticism remained, participants began to share their own ideas for enhancing the initiatives. Lena encouraged this by posing questions that invited collaboration. What specific changes would you like to see in the proposals? She asked, hoping to foster constructive feedback. As the community dialogue progressed, Lena felt a palpable tension in the room. The air was thick with unspoken thoughts, but she remained focused on creating an environment where every voice could be heard. She had witnessed firsthand how important it was to address skepticism directly, and today was no exception. Let's take a moment to reflect on the specific needs that may not be adequately addressed in our proposals, Lena encouraged, scanning the crowd. What are some concrete suggestions for change? Eris, standing tall at the back, raised his hand again. We need to emphasize the importance of preserving our cultural heritage in every initiative. Without that focus, we risk losing the very essence of what we represent. Lena nodded, taking in his words. That's a critical point, Eris. How can we better integrate cultural preservation into our environmental initiatives? A murmur of agreement swept through the audience, and Kira, sitting nearby, chimed in. We could develop a set of guidelines that explicitly outline how cultural practices will inform our environmental policies. This should be a foundational aspect of our approach. Encouraged by the back-and-forth dialogue, Lena scribbled notes on a flip chart. So, we're talking about a framework that explicitly links our cultural heritage with environmental stewardship. That's a powerful idea. A voice from the front spoke up. It was Sarah, one of the community members who had been engaged throughout the workshops. We should also include educational programs that highlight our shared history. If people understand our stories, they're more likely to care about preserving our environment together. Absolutely, Lena replied, her heart lifting at the collaborative spirit that was developing. Educational initiatives can foster a sense of pride and responsibility. Let's ensure that every program we design incorporates both cultures, stories, and values. As the dialogue continued, Lena felt the atmosphere begin to shift. The initial tension was easing, replaced by a sense of shared purpose. Participants were beginning to see that their concerns could be addressed through collaboration, not confrontation. As the meeting came to a close, Lena felt a wave of relief. They had navigated difficult conversations, and although challenges remained, there was a growing willingness to work together. She thanked everyone for their participation and emphasized the importance of continuing the dialogue. Let's keep this momentum going. We'll take your suggestions back to our working groups and refine our proposals accordingly, she said, her voice steady. Your input is invaluable in shaping our community's future. After the meeting, Lena gathered with her core team to debrief. Today was a turning point, she said, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. We managed to engage directly with those who were skeptical, and their feedback was constructive. I believe we can turn this into an opportunity for deeper collaboration. Mills nodded. I think the emphasis on cultural preservation resonated with many. If we can build on that, we might win over even the most doubtful members of the community. Cale added, we should schedule follow-up meetings focused specifically on the suggestions made today. It's crucial that we keep the lines of communication open. Lena agreed. Let's not lose this momentum. I'll coordinate with the working groups to ensure we integrate these ideas into our proposals and continue to seek input from the community. In the weeks that followed, Lena and her team worked diligently to incorporate the feedback from the community dialogue into their initiatives. They held additional meetings with the working groups, where members collaborated to refine their proposals based on the suggestions received. During one particularly productive session, the Environmental Protection Group discussed how to enhance their focus on cultural practices. Rian proposed a cultural exchange program, where community members could visit each other's homes and learn about traditional practices that promote sustainability. That's an excellent idea, Rian, Lena said, her enthusiasm evident. By facilitating these exchanges, we can create a deeper understanding of how our cultures intersect and how those intersections can inform our environmental stewardship. The group continued brainstorming, and as they did, Lena could feel the energy in the room shift. Participants were not just sharing ideas, they were actively building a shared vision for their community's future. As the summer months rolled on, Lena organized a series of community events aimed at celebrating the partnership and showcasing the initiatives that had taken shape. The first event was a cultural festival designed to highlight the traditions of both communities while also emphasizing their shared commitment to sustainability. On the day of the festival, the community center was transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and flavors. Stalls showcased traditional crafts, while the scent of delicious food wafted through the air. Lena felt a sense of pride as she walked through the bustling crowds, greeting attendees and celebrating the partnership that had blossomed. During the festival, Lena had arranged for workshops that educated attendees about the initiatives they had been developing. The workshops included everything from hands-on activities related to environmental stewardship to storytelling sessions that highlighted the histories of both cultures. As Lena facilitated a workshop on traditional ecological practices, she could see the engagement in the audience's eyes. Today, we're going to explore how both of our cultures have historically approached land management and resource conservation, she explained. By learning from each other, we can create a more sustainable future. After the workshop, Lena noticed a young girl named Aisha eagerly raising her hand. "Can we plant something today?" she asked, her enthusiasm infectious. Lena smiled. "Absolutely. We have a planting station set up outside where we can plant native species together. It's a great way to contribute to our restoration efforts." As the festival continued, Lena watched as families gathered to plant seeds, laughing and sharing stories. The joy in the air was palpable, and she felt a deep sense of connection with the community. They were building something meaningful together. As the festival drew to a close, Lena took a moment to reflect on the day. The sense of unity that permeated the event was inspiring, and she realized that the partnership was growing stronger every day. However, she also knew that the work was far from over. After the festival, she gathered her team to discuss the next steps. "We've made incredible progress, but we need to ensure that this momentum continues. We should schedule regular follow-up meetings and events to keep the community engaged." Mills suggested, "Let's create a community newsletter to keep everyone informed about upcoming events, progress on our initiatives, and opportunities for participation." Kale added, "And we should consider forming a community advisory board that includes representatives from both cultures. This would give everyone a voice in ongoing discussions and decision-making." Lena felt a surge of excitement. "Those are fantastic ideas. Let's get started on the newsletter and reach out to potential members for the advisory board." As the weeks turned into months, Lena's vision for a collaborative community continued to take shape. The community newsletter became a popular resource, featuring updates on initiatives, upcoming events, and spotlights on community members making a difference. The formation of the Community Advisory Board was met with enthusiasm. Lena organized an initial meeting where representatives from both cultures could come together and discuss their goals and priorities. As they gathered around the table, Lena felt a sense of hope. "Thank you all for being here today," she began. "This advisory board represents our commitment to inclusivity and collaboration. Your perspectives will be essential as we continue to navigate our partnership and work towards sustainable solutions." The discussions that followed were dynamic, with members sharing their visions for the community's future. They identified key areas of focus, including environmental policies, cultural education, and community engagement strategies. A woman named Leela spoke passionately about the need for more educational programs in local schools. "If we want to foster a sense of stewardship in the next generation, we need to start with our children. We should advocate for curriculum changes that include both cultures' perspectives." "Absolutely," Lena replied, feeling invigorated by the ideas being shared. "Let's form a subcommittee to explore this further. We can draft proposals to present to the school board." As the meeting continued, Lena felt a deep sense of gratitude for the diverse perspectives around the table. They were not just working towards a common goal, they were actively shaping the future of their community together. With the advisory board in place, Lena felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had created a platform for ongoing dialogue and collaboration, allowing community members to play an active role in shaping their shared future. As winter approached, Lena decided to organize a community gathering focused on celebrating their progress and setting goals for the coming year. She wanted to create a space where everyone could reflect on their achievements and envision the future together. On the day of the gathering, Lena arrived early to set up the community center. She decorated the space with banners showcasing the initiatives that had been launched over the past months. She felt a surge of pride as she considered how far they had come. As participants began to arrive, Lena welcomed them with a warm smile. "Thank you all for being here today. This gathering is an opportunity for us to celebrate our achievements and discuss our goals for the upcoming year." After a brief introduction, Lena invited members from the advisory board to share updates on their respective initiatives. The room filled with excitement as they discussed the progress made in educational programs, environmental policies, and community engagement. As the gathering continued, Lena encouraged attendees to break into smaller groups to brainstorm ideas for the coming year. "Let's think about what we want to accomplish together," she said, facilitating discussions that flowed with energy and enthusiasm. In one group, a young man named Javier proposed expanding the community garden. "If we create more space for growing food, we can also host workshops on sustainable gardening practices. It's a great way to engage families and teach them about sustainability." As the year drew to a close, Lena reflected on the remarkable journey the community had undertaken together. The partnership between humans and aliens had blossomed, transforming skepticism into collaboration and resistance into shared purpose. The cultural festival, community dialogues, and workshops had not only educated, but also united them in ways she had never imagined possible. During the final gathering of the year, Lena stood before a crowd filled with familiar faces, friends, neighbors, and new allies. The community center, once a place of division, now radiated warmth and unity. She felt a profound sense of gratitude as she began to speak. "Thank you all for being here today," she said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "This year, we've faced challenges, celebrated victories, and most importantly, built a community that values every voice. Together, we've created initiatives that honor our shared histories while looking forward to a sustainable future." As she recounted the year's achievements, the educational programs launched, the community garden expanded, and the cultural exchange initiatives that deepened understanding, Lena could see the pride reflected in the faces around her. "This is just the beginning," she continued. "Our work will continue as we nurture our partnership and expand our efforts. Let's commit to supporting one another, sharing our knowledge, and standing together in the face of any challenge." The crowd erupted into applause, a powerful affirmation of their collective spirit. Lena felt a wave of warmth wash over her as she looked around the room, recognizing that they had built something truly special. As the evening progressed, Lena joined the community in sharing a meal, a mix of traditional dishes from both cultures, symbolizing their unity. Laughter and conversation filled the air, and Lena felt a sense of belonging that she had longed for since the beginning of this journey. Later that night, as she prepared to leave the community center, she was approached by Kira and Eris, who were beaming with pride. "You've done something extraordinary here, Lena," Kira said, her eyes sparkling. "You've created a bridge between our cultures that will last for generations." Eris nodded in agreement. "The initiatives we've developed together are just the start. Our children will grow up knowing the importance of preserving both our cultures and the environment." Lena smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "I couldn't have done it without all of you. This community has shown me the power of collaboration and the beauty of embracing our differences." As they stepped outside into the crisp night air, Lena looked up at the stars twinkling above. Each star felt like a beacon of hope, representing the possibilities that lay ahead. Together, they had begun a journey that would not only reshape their lives, but also set an example for others. In that moment, Lena realized that the story of their partnership was still being written. With each new initiative, each shared meal, and each open conversation, they were crafting a legacy of understanding and collaboration. And as she walked home, surrounded by her friends, Lena felt a deep sense of excitement for the future. This was more than a community. It was a family bound by shared values and a commitment to creating a better world together. The end of one chapter marked the beginning of another, and she couldn't wait to see where the journey would take them next.